my best friends. Some people say we have a problem, but every night I'm making new best friends, and the only problem is we like having a good time.
Hello, my name is Lawrence J. Cartsy Esquire. I am the advocate for Between Two Beards LLC, and I will be reading a prepared statement on their behalf. On September 30th, at Love Pro Wrestling, Are We Not Wrestlers, a great injustice occurred, the intellectual property theft of Between Two Beards by Judge Ben Omen and the RADz. Upon their entrance, they stole the truly uproarious, and might I add, completely original sparkler gimmick from JPJ and Pluggo. We at Cartsy, Nelson, Walters, and Associates take this matter completely seriously and are willing to spend every last dollar of Spencer Love's money to make this right. By the way, we're getting a massive retainer for this. I'm getting paid so much it'll make MJF blush. We are sending a formal cease and desist letter and demanding Judge Ben Omen and the RADz apologize and mention how truly hilarious and original JPJ and Pluggo are no less than 3 times on social media. To Judge Ben Omen, if these demands are not met, we will be asking for your immediate impeachment, and you will henceforth be known as just regular guy Ben Omens. And to the RADz, we may have to refer this case to our bird law division, who are more than willing and capable of handling the two of you. We look forward to your response.
Hello, hello, hello. It is Thursday night. It is 8 p.m. And you know what that means.
What does that mean, JPJ? Tell the people.
It's another episode of Between Two Beards. You saw that video. It is what it is. It'll be retweeted on social media. We will not. We have been told by our counsel not to speak further on this matter. But we had to get that out at the top of the show because we got a big one tonight. But we wanted
big time. I feel bad for every time we have something go down like we had go down at the top of the show here, we have a guest that's just involved in gang warfare. So
yeah, always,
sorry.
Always. It's okay.
But before we have him on, I had to say shout out to the homie Alex Kane. Got to see him this weekend. Met him for the first time. Absolute gem of a human being. He fought our other buddy Isaiah Moore.
Two former guests of the show going at it.
That was all. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to root for.
You got to be that parent that has kids playing for both sports teams. And you just got to wear like half the jersey when you're just sitting there just going up.
I was like, Alex,
I'm not going to get overly excited for anything that happens here.
I was like, fight forever, guys. I don't care. Anyway.
But yes, we do have a big
no problem spending Spencer's money.
Oh no, and you can see Spencer behind the glass already saying that. You better believe we've had a response lined up from his personal representative. We got Lawrence. We are on the right side of history. Justice will prevail. I believe so.
Let's bring him on. We got a lot.
Yeah, we got a big guest. We got a big guest tonight. I am excited about having him on. We have Graham Matthews on, so let's bring him up. There he is. Graham, thank you for being here, my friend. How are we this evening?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm not sure I can live up to the hype that you just presented me with, but I'm looking forward to being part of the show regardless. Thanks for the offer. I appreciate it.
Feel any better? We don't live up to the hype that we bring ourselves on with, so we fit in just fine.
Yeah, but we wanted to bring Graham on. Obviously, there is a big weekend of wrestling happening this weekend. There's events for everybody. We have an Impact pay-per-view tomorrow, obviously SmackDown, Rampage, Battle of the Belts, Saturday, which will be a big chunk of this show. We were going to do a preview and a pick'em of Extreme Rules, which is lining up to it's looking like it's going to be a really, really good show. So yeah, we were like, hey, I met Graham last year at SummerSlam out in Las Vegas. And we've been kind of Twitter buds ever since, stuff like that. And we had that big major pick'em show last month with Jeff Hawkins. And I was like, hey, like next time we got to review a show and do some pick'em stuff. You want to come on?
Called out.
Yeah, that is true. Spencer was with me. Yes, that is true. We met Graham. That is true. But yes, so yeah, he has his voice back finally.
What a time to be alive for a professional wrestling fan. There's so much good wrestling going on in the world.
But Graham, obviously, for anybody who might be new to you, might not know where to find you, like let the people know what you do, where what you contribute to, and where you fit in the wrestling landscape here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. First of all, I'm awful with introductions, so I'll try my best. Shout out to Spencer in the chat. Yes, it was great meeting you guys last year in Vegas. Shout out to Rick, who obviously set that whole thing up. It was the day after SummerSlam, and I don't think that it would have even happened. I was supposed to fly out that day. My flight got delayed by a day or two, so it was great meeting you guys, and hopefully at some point our paths cross again. But basically, I'm with Bleacher Report. I also contribute to What Culture, fan-sided websites like that. Been doing this for about 12 years now, and I've been very fortunate over the last decade plus to interview a bunch of people and do a lot of writing, podcasting, video stuff, pretty much everything within the wrestling realm, sports, entertainment as well, the occasional athlete, actor. I'll actually be in New York Comic-Con tomorrow doing stuff in that area.
Nice.
And then I'll be at Extreme Rules on Saturday back to doing the wrestling stuff. So it's pretty cool. And there's it's kind of a very brief summary of everything I've got going on. But WrestleRant's kind of like the main brand of what I do, WrestleRant.com. There you can find reviews, videos, everything wrestling related, interviews as well. So it's pretty much been my game over the last 12 years or so, I would say.
Yeah, love it, man. Yeah, you are doing a lot. Go ahead, Pluggo. You have
I was just saying, so 12 years, so you've been through some down times in wrestling. I gotta ask, that you've been doing it so long, and we've talked about this, JPJ and I, plenty of times on this show, but how do you feel about the current product right now? Because it feels like it's at a fever pitch with everything going on news-wise, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it a minute ago, but it's such a great time right now to be a fan of it, to be talking about it, which is what we're doing here today, writing about it, whatever. I mean, anything involving wrestling, even if you're just consuming it as a fan, it's such a great time from all brands. I mean, I follow pretty much everything. The only thing I kind of lack on a little bit is New Japan, which I beat myself up for all the time. But beyond that, WWE, Impact, AEW, kind of the main ones. Impact got Bound for Glory going on tomorrow night. It's a loaded weekend with everything going on. Especially being here in the Northeast, I'm so fortunate to have all these shows. Like we got Worcester, Mass tomorrow for SmackDown. Extreme Rules has got Philly on Saturday. AEW is always in the area. I know they're going back to Boston. They're going back to your neck of the woods, in a couple of weeks. Sure, so I'm looking forward to that. But just this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say to harp on that. I'm also from the Northeast. So it's one of those things where I feel like we're kind of lucky being where we're from a little bit because we're so close to everything. I'm a half hour from Boston where I live. So clearly these wrestling companies come to Boston a lot. It's a big city. It has a rich history in professional wrestling and things like that. So, I'm lucky enough where, as I know, Spencer behind the Love Wrestling account, they just got their first Raw in 13 years in Edmonton. A couple weeks ago or last week.
He might have left the chat strictly because he's got to figure out the legal, because that's
he does. He's got to hire lawyers and do all sorts of stuff. He did not know we were coming with that heat. He did not know we were coming with that heat. Oh no, he's here. He's not scared. He's not scared. But I do feel like where we are and where we're central to things, even New York's not a far ride for me. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I do feel like the people in the Northeast, or when you're just located, Pluggo's only a couple hours from Chicago, when you're located within a good distance of major cities, you're going to get a lot of action. I'm lucky. I have SmackDown is literally an hour away from where I live tomorrow night. And then I have Dynamite coming to Boston. And then 2 weeks after that, Survivor Series with War Games is in Boston. And it's
if I was willing to travel a little bit more, I'm central to everything. So
you're central to Ohio. You have Chicago.
I will say this.
You have,
I do enjoy the live experience of events, but there's just the TV presentation right now is just off the charts. My beautiful 65-inch TV with my surround sound. You can't go wrong. It's hard to beat that, but what are you going to do? And I also was just informed before we get into the meat and potatoes of this huge weekend of wrestling by our legal counsel that I am required to say that Graham at WrestleRant is in no way affiliated with the lawsuit or legal proceedings that are happening here on Love Wrestling.
Yeah. We want to make sure
he's not involved. He's protected. Yeah. So thank you.
We want to say hello to New for pumping in the chat.
That tends to happen on this show a lot. We have guests on and they end up involved in things.
Yeah, it's true. It's been hairy at times.
Alex Kane, who I mentioned earlier, just happened to threaten Spencer.
Alex Kane.
We got to do what we got to do.
He's our guy. Let's do what we got to do.
Yeah, right.
Friend of the show. Anyway. why don't I kind of want to talk the backstage antics.
Well, I feel like that's where we were going to start before we dive into like either talking about the shows, and I feel like that is the pressing matter. Me and our buddy at Big Money Drew, we had our first episode of Firmly AEW earlier this morning, where we dived into it. But I mean, we have to talk about it. It is the story of AEW currently is yet again. This seems to happen too often.
Who would
especially
air their grievances publicly? I mean, come on.
You know, it's one of those things where it's involving Samuel Guevara, which,
again.
Yep. Which just a couple weeks ago, a month ago, he had another run-in with Eddie Kingston's. This time it's with Andrade. Yeah, like Spencer says, death, taxes, and backstage brawls at AEW. Apparently, that is what happens. I do want to say hi to Necro Eric as well, and Noob that popped into the chat as well.
Good, friends. Bring your questions, your comments, your predictions for the weekend in the chat. Tell Graham, sorry. Hi. I don't know why I said Grant. I'm on one today.
Russell Rant.
Either one matters. Either one counts.
Grant. Terrible.
So it all started where Andrade was doing an interview. And he said that he was asked about how he likes AEW. This was in his home. I think the interview was for his home country of Mexico. It was a Mexican interview. And he basically said, I've had a really good time. Like, I don't have a problem with anybody except one time I had a problem with somebody. And he named Sammy Guevara. And he said that Sammy complained that he hit too hard. And then Andrade went into it and he was kind of like, if I hit too hard, settle it in the ring, like hit me hard back or whatever. Like, and he started talking about Sheamus and John Cena and saying like, Sheamus hits hard. Nobody complains about Sheamus. Like John Cena never complained to me about me hitting hard. So like, who are you kid? Like you fresh start kid. Like that's, he said something like that. He's like, who are you to blah, blah, blah. This led to Sammy Guevara responding on Twitter. And the exact response was, I believe it was something like, you're a jobber. You're lucky. You were like a favor hire. Be grateful or be lucky, bitch, or something along those lines. Dustin, what's going on, my friend? Thank you for hopping in the chat. Always good to see you. And then Andrade responded and said, hey, I said something to your face. You said you didn't have a problem with me, but now you're running your mouth, blah, blah, blah. And then Sammy Guevara then said, hey, you wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for your dad-in-law. Why don't you go back to WWE like everyone knows you want to? And then he said some swears and some uncanny things. And then Andrade, literally the last tweet was Andrade said, all right, I'll see you on Wednesday and we'll talk and let's see if you have something to say. So that was that. That was me like, phrasing it, whatever the term is. And then apparently the story is that they had a physical altercation last night, like right before Dynamite started or as it was going on the air. And Andrade was sent home, but Sammy Guevara was not. Sammy Guevara was still very much in the main event of Dynamite. Sammy Guevara very much went over in the main event of Dynamite, getting the pinfall victory in that main event, which led to a bunch of discourse happening on Twitter during the main event last night. Like, why did Andrade get sent home? Why is Sammy here? How is Sammy allowed in this match? Why the hell is Sammy going over? All this type of stuff that's going on. So, Graham, you are the guest. I'm a very pro, and we are a very pro AEW show. I love AEW. I've loved it since it's come out. Like, I'm still a fan, obviously. However, as a big fan of AEW, this is becoming tedious to me. All this bullshit, and I will say just bullshit. Like, obviously the All Out stuff was just a different level of things, but this is not the first time we have seen this, and it spills onto Twitter, and half the time you don't know if it's real or it's a shoot, or it's real, and you're like, this is like, I don't know. It's just like so unprofessional to me. Especially just how do you feel about the ongoing issues? Because it feels like that. Like, is anybody going to put their foot down or have a meeting with the team and say, we're not doing this shit anymore, guys? Like, we're not doing it. Like, people have eyes on us more than ever now, especially what's going on behind the scenes, because we look like we are a chaotic work environment. Like, just what are your thoughts on all of it? Like, what needs to change? Because it feels like we're running into these stories every friggin' week.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. I mean, what a fucking mess. I mean, you just not just this incident, but like you said, everything from the last couple of months, from like early August to right after All Out and some stuff right after that. And you think we're finally past it. Like it's this, nice feel good story. Okay, they got past the All Out shit. Let's focus on the roster we have now. Jon Moxley's champion again. I mean, the most probably professional person in that entire locker room, Jon Moxley. This guy's got to deal with this shit. He's supposed to be on his fucking vacation right now when he can't be because of this, shit. And then this happens. It's like, dude, I don't even know what to do. Like you said, why don't they just address it? And like, they got to put their fucking foot down. I mean, that much is clear. I completely agree with you on that. The problem is we've already had, I mean, obviously we don't work there, but like from what we've heard, they've already had many backstage meetings about this shit, fucking talent meeting after talent meeting after talent meeting. Did Sammy not attend any of these fucking meetings? I mean, I'm not saying I mean, dude, it's a fucking mess. Like
it is. It's bad.
How do you not listen to Jon Moxley? Like,
well, the last talent. Yeah, like the last talent meeting that was reported.
That's a big one. Put that back up.
That's a big one. Put that back on, Alex, just so we can.
I can't read that fast.
Yeah, it says AEW is becoming more and more toxic than ever. I thought it was a great alternative for WWE, but after 3 years, I was proven wrong. I don't even watch AEW Dark or Elevation because it's nothing but squash matches. AEW barely sign anyone from the independent wrestling scene.
All I'm going to say is Sammy Guevara, don't you know that the sequel's never good as the original? Punk already did all that, you guys. Like, you don't have to keep it up. I will ask.
Yes, and my immediate thought was AEW. There
you
go. Have guy.
Show or us.
That's a great comment. Always good to see you. Glad you're here. But like, the last talent meeting that was reported, it was reported that the three guys that were standing up at the top of the room talking to the talent were Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, and Bryan Danielson. Easily the three most decorated people in that locker room. Easily the three most veteran people in that locker room. Well, maybe not the three, but you know what I mean. Veteran leaders, professional, been everywhere, wrestled everywhere, been superstars everywhere. Like, how are you not hearing what they have to say and listening to those three? And Sammy Guevara is in a on-screen group, basically since the incarnation of AEW with Chris Jericho. Like, how is Chris Jericho not getting through? Because I'm sure Jericho has said stuff. They're close. They seem like they're close. Yeah. I'm sure Jericho said stuff like, kid, what the fuck are you doing? Like, relax, will you? Jesus Christ. And Jericho has gotten into altercations before. He got in a fist fight with Lesnar behind. Like, he's been a part of things before. But, like,
they weren't taking it to Twitter, though, dude. I mean, that's just fucking embarrassing.
I mean, is there a small chance, though? Because Tony Khan said that, like, this is like, he was very adamant about like he's coming for the ratings and how they're coming. So maybe he's trying some things that they're not ready. Is there a small chance that he's doing this? Like,
there's no, there's not a work.
No, I would imagine,
but this
because it just seems. But here's why I say it, because it seems so blatantly egregious that I'm like, you couldn't possibly just watch what went down at All Out and go, this is a good idea. Like,
this is how you know it's real. The fact that Andrade, so you're saying that it could be a storyline. The fact that we're even assuming Andrade is in a storyline means it's real, because the guy hasn't had a fucking feud in 6 months. He's been doing jack shit behind the scenes. Maybe this is his way of becoming relevant. I don't know, dude. I don't know if he wants to.
Can we also argue that, like, hey, Andrade, this is the second company that you've not been happy with?
I know,
lack of a push. Like,
you could go that angle. But no, I don't think it is, though, because the track record with Sammy Guevara shows you that it ain't. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
Sammy Guevara, but he had the thing with Kingston a month or so ago. He's now had this with Andrade. He got in trouble for his stupid comments about Sasha Banks way back near the early. Like, he's shown, and he's been in some shit in locker rooms and other companies before AEW. Like, he has a reputation of being kind of a difficult guy to be around. And again, I'm not just singling this to Sammy Guevara. Like, this particular story involves him, but like the All Out stuff had nothing to do with Sammy Guevara. And it was very much still the same shit. Like, we're going to talk crap about each other and not care and make our company, more importantly, make our company look like a bunch of friggin' idiots. Like, we're run by a bunch of clowns over here.
And I think part of the problem is it's the culture of AEW, right? Like, so you've got those old heads, so to speak, you know, the Jerichos, the Moxes that been to the WWE and know how a system's supposed to be ran. But then you have all these young upstarts that are young 20-something. When you were 20 years old, I don't know how old you are, Graham, but I'm 36 now. When I was 20, you couldn't tell me nothing. I don't care how experienced.
But here's the
thing.
But
Sammy
I'm saying though, 20. Sammy Guevara is almost 30.
I know.
He's an adult.
It takes some time.
He's an adult.
But you get in this mindset of like when AEW, maybe some people it takes time. I don't know. But I'm just saying, but you got all these younger talents who think their shit doesn't stink because hey, AEW's the hottest thing. Everybody's been propping up Sammy Guevara and the Darby Allins and the MJFs of the world. I'm just throwing names out there. I'm not saying they're all involved in this, but Sammy's been since day one of the pillars. Mm-hmm. Like he probably is walking around with their ego going, yeah, I'm in the main event with Jericho Andrade. Who are you at this point? And is that the way to handle it? Probably not. I would hope that he could handle it in a different way. I'm just saying maybe that's unfortunately part of the game because I think you have that in every company or every walk of life. You've got that egotistical person that thinks that they're just better than everybody. But unfortunately, they're in a spot, like you said, it's just not the time or the place for this because all it does is take away like that Dynamite last night was solid, and all we were talking about was Sammy got the win after the Bucks got suspended for trying to save a dog, but he gets to keep his gig and get wins. And
it was very bizarre. And like you said, like last night was an anniversary edition of Dynamite, and it was a really good show. It was a very good show. You know, MJF and Wheeler Yuta ruled. Wardlow and Brian Cage had the match of the night, in my opinion. Like it was incredible.
My twin, Brian Cage.
The main event was good. Like it was a good show of Dynamite, but the only and again. Same thing when All Out happened, which is their WrestleMania. That is their main show of the year.
Yep.
What was the only thing people were talking about after All Out? They were talking about the bullshit
Mindy's
with
muffins.
CM Punk. Yeah, they were talking about that and people getting bit and chairs getting thrown at people. It's like, bro, and I get it. It's, you know, it's unfair to just blame Tony or just all, but he's the guy. You're in charge. Like you need to.
What does the hierarchy
that's exactly
look like now?
Well, I think
Tony Khan's the top.
And I think that, but I think that's the problem is I don't know if Tony Khan has anybody to his side that he can just go like, what should I do?
No, 100% now. I think, it's him. And then like everyone else is down here, which could work.
And I feel like that's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, it has its pros and its cons in certain ways. Like, you know, we've complained in WWE for years. All the creative team is 30 different people. If it was just one person's vision or a couple people, it would be better. And we kind of have that with Tony. And it's not even the backstage stuff. I mean, the company itself isn't in the shitter. I'm not going to say that. They're not going to, be doomed and they're not going to go out of business or whatever. But, you know, even the on-air product, I watched the show last night, a lot of good matches. And obviously the shit backstage overshadowed what we saw on the show. But I mean, it's been a month since All Out. I'm not seeing a lot of, at least in my opinion, this is just me, a lot of truly compelling, exciting storylines to set us forward. I mean, I think what they're doing with Garcia and Jericho is cool. I really don't give a fuck about most of the Jericho Appreciation Society stuff. That's just me. I really just don't give a shit. Like the Ring of Honor stuff. I love Ring of Honor. There's no weekly show. Why should the average viewer give a fuck about anything involving those guys? But just going back to the incident itself, you guys said it yourself. The buck stops with Tony Khan. If I'm him, I'm fucking embarrassed. I mean, the man literally did an interview with, I don't even know who it was, but on Monday, the headline dropped on Tuesday. He said that everything was 100%. The locker room environment had never been better than it was at the moment he did that interview. And then this should happen.
Did he do that at All Out too?
He must have said it at All Out too.
He said some shit like that at All Out and how amazing of a night it was. And then that press scrum happened. He's got to stop.
He's sitting there, and the poor guy is sitting there with CM Punk right next to him, basically saying that his company is dog shit.
Yeah, he's not stepping in. That's the problem.
And he's just sitting there like and you can tell he's cringing. He's just like, all right. And he's sitting there listening to this guy talk crap about the main stars in his company, talk crap about how the company is run. And it's like, bro, that is and I know he's CM Punk and that's a whole nother level, but like that, he's talking about you, Tone. Like he's making you look like an idiot sitting right next to you.
Exactly.
Like, do something. You got to do something. And it's one of those things. And like Dustin says, he says the fact that there was a hire HR expert sign that a fan
that was hysterical,
brought definitely shows that something. Yeah. And like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know if he just needs to hire maybe some business people or hire maybe old wrestlers that are retired that can bring some business sense. So he has those, who did Vince always have? He had Pat Patterson, and he had these guys next to him that, and again, Vince is Vince, but like if he had a question, I'm sure, or he needed a second opinion, he had people, his 2 or 3 people, or maybe it was just Pat, who the hell knows, but he had his person that he could probably bounce a conversation off of or bounce an idea off of, and then they would handle, like, I feel like Tony has him, and then it's just the wrestlers, and it's just like, are you their boss? Are you their friend? Are you their, like, what is going on here? Because it feels like, and again, this is the part of Tony Khan that I actually like. I like that he hugs, that like he's genuinely as excited as I am as a fan about the show and about his company. That is endearing to me as an AEW fan. Like, I enjoy that. But at the same time, like, you need to understand you're their boss. And at some point, you need to fucking act like their boss. And you need to let them know I'm in charge here. And if you do shit that's making us look stupid, there's going to be consequences. And I think you said
so. What do you guys do then? What do you do with Andrade? You release him?
I think both of them. I think you take both of them off the show right now. I think the fact that Sammy was even on the show, he wasn't the one who threw the first punch. All right, let me ask you this though: with Eddie Kingston and Sammy, from by all accounts, Sammy didn't throw a punch. He got either face palmed by Eddie, whatever the fucking story is. Sammy wasn't the aggressor in that situation. It seems like he just talks a lot of shit and then he gets his ass kicked because he's a little fucking prick, it seems like. But anyway, so what happened
He's got that face, man.
It's just also the way he acts too, but that doesn't help either. I completely agree. But the thing is, so with the Eddie situation, they were both taken off TV for what, 2 weeks? Okay, that makes sense. And the way they handled it in the aftermath was fine. He put out a statement about it. Sammy did. Not that he has to address it, but whatever. Eddie addressed it. It was well handled. We're 48 hours removed from this shit, from when it first started. The Twitter stuff started on Tuesday. That's the worst part of all of this. It wasn't random. It wasn't random. Andrade just didn't go out there and say, or backstage, didn't show up at the arena and say, I'm going to beat up Sammy today. He's a little piece of shit. No, this started on Twitter. They're both at fault for going back and forth publicly like this. No one's giving a fuck about the anniversary show. Everyone's talking about these two and the TMZ report that drops right before they go on the air. I mean, come on, man. So to answer your question, I would take them both off the show. It sucks that we're not getting Andrade in the Rampage main event on Friday. Sammy shouldn't have been in the main event last night, let alone winning the fucking match. Oh, what, set up Sammy and Daniel Garcia for a pure title match? Who cares? I mean, this stuff way takes precedence. You got to get your shit in order behind the scenes before anything else that we see on the show is going to matter. At least my 2 cents on it.
And but I think you're 100% right. And I think, you set a bad precedent when you handle it that way. And again, the report is that, as well as last night, that Sammy wasn't the aggressor. Andrade was the aggressor. He threw punches. Sammy was defending himself, and then it got broken up relatively quickly. So again, like you said, it feels like Sammy likes to be the instigator, but then when it's time to, like, all right, you want to talk some shit? Like, let's go. He's like, no, I'm good. And it's just like, all right, well, you're not a 20-year-old kid anymore. You're an adult. If you want to talk some shit, I'm going to handle it like an adult, and I'm going to punch you in your face. That's how we're going to go, But like the precedent that was set last night by sending Andrade home and changing the main event of a show because of it, but you don't equally punish the other person. Or, and I get it. It's Dynamite. It's the anniversary show. It's a big main event tag match. It would suck to change that main event. Cool. I understand that. But at the same time, you were very easily willing to do that, to send Andrade home and change your Rampage main event. But yet you're just going to let Sammy walk around like nothing happened, or like, and it's like we talked about, he went over. He got the pinfall win. What are we doing? Then you have everyone on Twitter just saying, why is he even in the match? He should have been removed from the match. Throw Hager in there.
I was going to say Hager,
whatever, man. Make it work. Make it work.
Maybe that was a Jericho call. Saying, hey,
it might have been. And exactly.
Because I will say this. I know we talked the hierarchy is Tony and everybody else, but I think he leans on Jericho a lot for some of this stuff. And maybe Jericho's like, I'll talk to him, let us get through tonight, and we'll figure it out. We'll see where Sammy goes from here.
And we got Spencer, and he said we should also play devil's advocate. Apparently, Sammy didn't throw a punch or anything of the sort. Some rumors that Andrade was the one who leaked the story to TMZ. Not that your sentiments aren't correct, but those
I don't know Andrade. Like, I don't know him personally. I mean, we're not friends. We don't kick it. But it seems like he's unhappy there, blah, blah, blah. He's looking for a way to get out. If I'm Tony Khan, I dig my heels into the ground and just say, I got you for 2 years. You can sit. I'm not letting you out of your contract to just go back to WWE and hang out with Charlotte. You wanted to come here. We got you here. It didn't work out. He was in some big matches. He hasn't had a storyline to save his life, but he was in some big spots. Like we talked about this a couple weeks back. Like, you just, all these people that all of a sudden you think are just going to go back to WWE and everything's going to be fine. He wasn't working over there. Now Triple H is a different animal than Vince, but like, what's going to be drastically different over there that was before that you're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, eventually. So if you're Tony Khan, you just say, all right, look, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. And I know if you don't want to be here, but we're not going to play this game where you try to get in little fights and leak things to TMZ to just get out of your contract. We did that once with CM Punk.
Yeah. And
Tony, we're not doing this again.
Yeah. Tony either late last week or earlier this week came out full force and he was like, I'm not granting releases to people. I'm not doing it. And I can't blame him from a business perspective. You signed a 3-year deal here. I understand that your boy's running the other one now and everyone wants to go back there. Or if some people do, well, you're riding your contract out, bro. I'm not going to release you so you can just go be my competition. Like, that's not what I'm doing. So like, I completely understand from a business perspective of him not granting releases, but like, you got to get control of what the hell's going on in your company. And it looks like the company is, again, if the product is good, it will overshadow some things, but this is now 2 examples of the bullshit overshadowing the shows. And it overshadowed your WrestleMania and All Out, and it overshadowed your anniversary Dynamite on your 3-year anniversary, you know? And it's just like, bro,
I'm not as professional as you two over here. But so I'm just gonna say it. Sammy looks like the little brother that would like start the shit, and then the big brother knocks you one, then he goes crying to me. I've got 4 kids, so I see it every day.
Yeah,
that's
what it is.
What did you do? Nothing. Sure, he didn't just hit you.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Sure, he just hit you in the face for no reason. Like, he just was like, you know what, I'm hitting him today.
Like you said, he just
there was nothing that caused that. Like, like it's just like, come on, man.
And they got, and that's the thing. Like, this shit is the reason it's annoying is because, like, the backstage stuff is interesting and it's cool, and we like to hear these stories, but we'd like to hear the positives too. Like, I know that the fights and stuff that sells, you know, the scandals, but
I mean, it's good content to chat about.
This is a great week. There's so much going on, and all we can talk about is how Sammy Guevara and Andrade are fighting over.
And that's
something as silly as like, dude, you hit me hard in a wrestling ring. I'm not a wrestler. I've never wrestled, but like Andrade said, like, if I hit you too hard, just hit me back. Like, let me know. Like, okay, that was a little thick. Because I did just hear that story today about Adam Page. I think SRS was talking about it, and he said that there was, you know, people were saying that the buckshot lariat was too hard, and a lot of people were kind of getting frustrated with it a little bit, but they all talked to him and he eased it up, and everybody loves Hangman Page. He didn't dig his heels into the sand and like Twitter beef with everybody.
Because, you know,
everyone except CM Punk.
Well, I mean, like it. You know, that empty-headed, don't get me started. I'll go for an hour.
You know, it's one of those things, dude. Like, you got to be professional. You got to be professional. And if you're not professional, you know, like my shoot job is I manage people. And if I have 2 people on my floor getting in a physical altercation, I'm not going, okay, you're going home. You're cool. You hang out over here and you keep doing your job. You're all right. No, you're both out of get out. You're both out. And we're going to talk about this at a different time, but you're both gone here. See you later.
Yeah.
Like, stop acting like children here. It's a business.
Exactly.
It's a place of
wasn't
work.
Wasn't there also some rumor that Sammy was thinking, like, he had teased maybe leaving too? So I don't know what the heck is going on there, but they need to figure it out. Nope, you shouldn't be calling your boss out publicly do that in private. Who would ever call their boss?
You shouldn't be
out?
calling out your coworkers. Like, if you have a real beef with somebody, like Andrade said, handle it in the ring, or like come to me. Like, why is it impossible for Sammy Guevara or whoever to go to the person in the back and just be like, "Hey, man, I didn't like what you said. I didn't like this. This bothered me a little bit." And you go, "All right, sorry about that, dude. I didn't know." Like, all right, next time we're good, man.
Do you guys think he puts, because like when it started, it was him, the Bucks, Omega, and Cody, and it sounded like Cody took a lot of that.
I think Cody was really like the managerial
but now that the Bucks and
them.
Omega are out, like he's got it. Tony has to have a set of eyes somewhere. So
he needs to.
He can't be everywhere at once. The man has 900 businesses he operates, and he's just like always doing something. But he needs to set the precedent of like, if I'm not here in the building, Dean Malenko, for instance, I'll use him because he's a backstage name we know. You go to Dean, and if Dean says this was, effed, I'm sending you both home. I trust him. Maybe Tony just hasn't found that person he can trust fully because he's got so much shit going on. Because he said Vince had it. You got to.
Yeah.
You have to do it. I can't believe we're talking about this shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think with this situation specifically, like I said, it started on Twitter. I mean, obviously with the interview that Andrade did that we talked about, but Andrade literally said, "If you have an issue with me, come see me on Wednesday." Like, he literally almost threatened him in that tweet. Like, how does this even happen where they even are at the same, not in the same building, but how does that, like, why wouldn't Tony Khan say before Dynamite on Tuesday night, message them, call them, email, whatever? Hey, first of all, take your fucking tweets down. It's embarrassing. Yeah. That's all that people are talking about. Ricky Starks, love the guy. His tweet was hysterical.
Oh my God, that was the tweet of the week.
It was the tweet of the week. But he was smart enough. I mean, again, you probably shouldn't be saying stuff like that, so he was smart enough to take it down. Although, again, here's the thing, though. Morally, he's 100% right. Just professionally, 100%. You probably shouldn't say stuff like that. And the same thing goes for Sammy and Andrade. I'm Team Andrade in this. I mean, Sammy comes off like a fucking prick, but you can't be showing up at your workplace and beating up, your coworker, even though you're probably morally in the right. You probably shouldn't be doing that. But what my point is that Tony Khan saw this, allowed them to keep the tweets up, and allowed them to both be in the building on Wednesday. What? Because they were in the main event of the two different. Andrade wasn't even on the fucking show. Even if he was. Why was he even backstage if he was not going to be involved in the show in any real meaningful manner? He should have just said, "Listen, Andrade, stay home or show up and listen. If there's any sort of contact between you two, you're both suspended." Like, that should have been settled before they even got to the building. Like, why did they?
Or at the very least, like, send a text out and go, "Hey guys, I see what's going on here. When you both get here tomorrow, we're meeting in my office.
Yes,
the three of us are going to sit in my office and we're talking this shit out." And
we're
going to figure it out where things can remain cordial. If you don't like each other, cool. You stay on that side of the building.
Exactly.
You stay on that side of the building. But when you get to the show, check in and you come to my office and we're having a conversation. And that's what's going to happen.
And
there's none of that
part of it. The Ricky Starks part of this is important too. How do you lose a good employee? By
letting bad employees hang around. You let bad
Ricky Starks, by all accounts, right, hasn't done anything that we've of note that would say that he's a backstage problem. But if he's saying like, this is just getting ridiculous, I'm going to go somewhere else, you lose a blue chip prospect like Ricky Starks that could be the foundation of your company for years because you can't get a handle on two guys or five guys, whoever it is, just going crazy backstage. Because that's how you lose people in companies going, well, I see you let X, Y, and Z get away with anything, but yet I'm not getting TV time. I can't get on TV and these guys are acting unprofessional. I'm going to go ahead and go to the WWE and see what happens there.
Yeah. Or I'll go to Impact, wherever. I'll go somewhere else because, you're not using me, but you're letting this guy get into physical altercations and start shit with multiple people. And you're letting him still be in main events going over and getting pinfalls and in big, like, it's like, what is the incentive for me to be a good employee? What is the incentive for me to be a good employee if you let, on the surface, what looks like not great employees, you're still letting them be superstar. You know what I mean? Like, it just, there's got to be some sort of order. And at the end of the day, it makes the company and it makes Tony Khan look bad. And he has to know that. He has to know that. And
I mean, that guy's on Twitter 24/7. How do I not see the comments that are coming out from this? You know what I mean? Like, he sees stuff that he's not even fucking tagged in, but he can't deal with this shit before Dynamite. The fact those tweets were, I was checking. I'm like, how are these tweets still up, dude? I mean, you would,
and like
it's all a work.
And according to the, but even if it like according to the reports, like Andrade was like waiting for Sammy to arrive. So like even at that point, even if you don't address it beforehand, like Graham and like we're all saying,
Andrade,
like
why
if
are you
somebody tells you,
lot?
hey Andrade, why are you standing right near the entranceway?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm waiting for Sammy. Nobody goes and tells Tony Khan like, yo, dude, Andrade's at the friggin' door waiting for Sammy, so Tony can walk over there and go, walk with me here. Like, come, like. Let's go. Let's talk about this. Like, come walk with me. And like, there's nothing. There's no communication. Hey, Andrade looks pissed off and he's waiting for Sammy. All right, maybe somebody should go over there and talk to Andrade. Does it have to be me? Can somebody get Andrade away from the door? Anybody? A friend? Anyone? Me? Whatever. It's
maybe
like
people want to see
what are we
Sammy
doing?
get his face.
Maybe.
Oh,
maybe.
definitely. 100%.
I mean, that's I don't think that's a maybe.
Nobody's stopping him. Like, it's Andrade's turn this week.
Yeah, I bet you Kingston walked right by and was like, get after it, like whatever. Like, it's just like, I don't know. And this is, I think all three of us are pro AEW people on here. Like we want wrestling is better if AEW succeeds and if AEW is around. And I just have a feeling that if they don't get a hold of this, like you said, it's not going anywhere. Like it's still getting 1 million viewers a week for 5 or 6 weeks straight. Like it's in a good spot, but sooner or later, if you don't get control of everything, it's going to end bad. It's going to end bad. And, as Hab guy saying, it's almost like Tony is trying to relive the old days of wrestling where wrestlers took things. Yeah, but that's just.
But Twitter didn't exist.
Yeah, no, Twitter didn't exist. Social media didn't. We didn't hear about that shit. Those things were old tales and stories and things like that. Now everything's right there. We knew this was going to happen the day before. We knew that there could be like you said, Andrade said in the tweet, "I will see you on Wednesday, and let's see if you say something to my face." That right there is like Andrade's going to try to fight him.
Other workplace.
Yeah. If one of my employees texted me and said, hey, I just got this tweet from this other employee and they said they're going to be waiting for me at work tomorrow, I'm going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to make sure I'm there. I'm going to make sure I'm there. Hey, Drew, what's going on, my friend? Hey, buddy. I don't know. You just Tony Khan needs a support system in place where he can delegate or he can just have other ears or other eyes happening, because he seems to be in over his head with certain situations like this. And it's making the company and it's making him look like a bunch of clowns, and it's taking away from the product. And the product, for the most part, is still a pretty damn good product. It's taking away from it because it's really just unprofessional, childish bullshit. And it needs to stop. It just needs to stop. All right. We almost spent 45 minutes on that. Good Lord. What a time.
But we'll take it down, and we're gonna predict some stuff here. So if you got some matches, but we did put a link in the Twitch chat if you feel like donating to what was I'm sorry, Sarah Lee today.
Yes.
I apologize. I stumbled over my words there. Unfortunate passing. And we are taking so many of colleagues of ours and people that we are close to here in the Love Wrestling community. It affected them. So we're trying to do our best to help out. Any donations that you could pass along or hand off, or
I think we'll put the link up right now so you guys can see it. There it is, right there.
GoFundMe, help them out.
Yeah, so that is the link. If any contributions, any donations that you feel in your heart that you could do, it would be greatly appreciated. Obviously, a tragic thing, a young person losing their life, never good to see, especially one that affects a lot of people and so many people in this wrestling sphere that we're a part of. So that it's a bummer, but if you can help out, there's the link right there. Go for it. Any help, any proceeds, anything like that would be really welcomed. So all right, cool.
Well, which show do we want to go to first?
I was gonna say, so I mean,
the guest can pick. I just show up. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, Battle of the Belts has 3 matches on it so far. I don't know if they'll add a 4th on Rampage. I don't know. I feel like, am I crazy, or have the Battle of the Belts usually been 4 matches? I feel like they've been 4 matches, right? Or are they all?
All I'm gonna say is if I
they've been 3, all of them, all just 3.
Yeah. I was looking at the cards earlier, and then they've all, because it's only an hour show. So with some of the main events, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
if I watch that and nothing of significance happens, if I stay up that late,
I mean,
nothing, dude. Nothing is.
They've
Don't
gotta-
waste your time.
Yeah. I was
That's what
gonna
I'm
say nothing
saying.
of significance is gonna happen.
So, like, what's the point of these Battle of the Belts? Like, Willow's not win. She should.
It'd
Willow
be great if she
should.
did. It would be really good if she did.
And I don't know. Hey, Tony Khan, you want to win some goodwill back? Sign Willow now.
Well, I think we're getting the graphic tomorrow night. I think it'll be a hard fought victory for Jade.
And why is it?
And we'll get the Willow as all elite after that.
Yes, I don't want to dive too deep into Battle of the Belts, but 11.
Oh, well, there you go. Spencer thinks he has a hot take. He thinks Willow's. I mean, that would be great.
Willow,
I do
former
think
Love Pro Wrestling alum. Willow.
We might as well start with Battle of the Belts because we're already freaking talking about it. So let's start with that.
That's my bad. Sorry, I'm not a pro. I just start talking.
Well, I think we're going to spend the most meat on Extreme Rules. So I feel like we can get Battle of the Belts kind of quickly out of the way a little bit because it's a lesser card, and then we'll start diving into the meat of things. But all right. So when it comes to Jade, I'm a big fan of Jade. She is a superstar. You see her and you're like, nobody else looks like that. Nobody else has a presence like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jade as the TBS champion has run its course. And that's just how I feel. I also feel like the booking has been a detriment to Jade because she's not having stories. She's not having compelling stories. It's just, who's the next challenger for Jade? And we already know she's going to win to keep the undefeated streak. So there's really not a ton of intrigue when it comes to Jade's opponents. Now, Willow Nightingale is somebody who is beloved by a lot of people. I'm a huge fan of hers. I was at the Boston Dynamite where they literally had to turn Red Velvet heel because of the response that Willow Nightingale was getting. So she's very well liked. I think everyone is kind of clamoring for her to get the graphic, and get the, hey, she's signed to AEW or whatever. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Jade is going to win and it'll be 39-0, and that's what we're going to do. And Spencer, you are right. Willow does fucking rock 100%. I would love Willow to win because I think that gets the title off of Jade, and then Jade can kind of rebuild for a little bit and go for the AEW Women's Championship, which is where I think she should be heading. But I just don't see it happening at all. Graham, like, kind of, at least with this match, like, are you? And I know we kind of said like nothing of significance is probably going to happen on the whole show, but it seems to me that this is just another win to kind of chalk on the Jade Cargill at road to 50-0 or whatever they're trying to get to. You know what I mean?
No, that's exactly what this is. At this point, they're probably just waiting for 50-0. I think we can all probably agree that they were going to put the belt on Statlander before she got hurt. Either at All Out or if they were going to do a three-way with Athena, maybe she didn't get pinned and they would have done it at Grand Slam. At this point, they are literally just spinning their wheels with Jade Cargill as champion. And I love Cargill. I mean, we talked about it. You guys mentioned it before. She's a star. She looks awesome. She is someone that I want to see more of on the show, not in a fucking 15-second pre-tape on Dynamite. I mean, she is someone, from what I've seen on social media, that is going to attract more viewers to this show. New viewers, not just returning viewers. New viewers looking at her thinking, this woman's a star, and I want to see like she's a badass. Like people, I know a lot of people are attracted to Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch and people like that. Like new viewers thinking, male and female, thinking this person's a star. I want to see more of them. They follow these people on social media. That's what Jade Cargill is to a lot of the new viewers in AEW. And we're not seeing nearly enough of her. I'm not saying you can't do that without her as champion or with her as champion, but Willow's great. I mean, like Spencer said, like you guys have said, the fact she hasn't gotten a graphic yet, and she's probably been signed secretly for a while. I mean,
I was going to say, she's been there for a while now.
Yeah, she's been there for quite a while. I mean, honestly, I'm disappointed this isn't a full-on feud. I mean, they literally just did this on Wednesday. She won that match out of nowhere. It was like, okay, cool. Then you're going to immediately ruin that by having her lose in a match probably in 5 minutes. Let's be honest. The match is not going to – the Athena match was fucking 4 minutes of the pay-per-view. I mean, why? I mean, I'm not saying –
That's egregious.
Yeah, I mean, she's not capable of wrestling instant classics at this point, but they really should be more competitive matches. It's gotten boring. Jade has kind of plateaued as a character. They had what was it? Mark
Willow's
Sterling
lost to her before.
They mentioned that. And she's like, "Oh, I've lost twice, but this is the third time." Okay, like that's the story here. Like you build it up on 40 hours notice. Very disappointing. I love that Willow's getting the shot. Would love if this was the main event. It was competitive. I just don't see it being the case, and Jade's going to win, and they're going to move on. And then what next for Willow? Does she build the AEW Women's title like you said before? I don't know. I'm kind of curious, but I want to see her have a good showing in defeat. She's great. I'm done with the Jade Cargill. Oh, the dominant. She's been undefeated for 2 years. Like, we got to move on at some point and start something new.
Yeah, and we got Drew. He said, go ahead, Plug. No, go Plug. You're good.
I was going to say the comment about the women. Yeah, that's the plug in. They plug them in. She mows them down. Then they don't know what to do with them for weeks on end, months on end at times. And then she's just cycling through. So at this point, like, if you're not going to put a formidable challenger up against her, maybe Willow is. Maybe we'll be shocked. I don't know. Maybe we'll be shocked tomorrow, but I'm not banking on it. Poor Willow. Anyway, what did Drew say? Drew rules.
Well, yeah, Drew said, like I said earlier, Tony can't wait for Statlander, because I do think you were right, Graham. And we talked about it earlier with Drew on Firmly AEW. I think Statlander was the person. I think Statlander was going to be the person that beat Jade, probably at All Out, like you said. But unfortunately, she got hurt. But like, she's going to be out for 8 or 9 months. You can't just keep Jade doing what she's doing.
We can't wait that long.
You got to do something, you know?
Can't.
And like you said, you can't wait for her to be healthy to pull off the title switch. It's been way too long now.
Baddies do what baddies do, bro. She can do whatever she wants.
And no one except Willow has looked like a credible threat. And that, but
that's not true. Athena, they botched the shit out of that.
I agree.
Athena, that should have been the one.
I agree.
What happened?
Yeah, I would agree. I think if you want to establish
the time to pull the trigger, and what have you done with Athena since? Like, you put her in these. She's just an afterthought and all this stuff going on in the women's division. I thought that was your person, but unfortunately, they butchered that and have to build. That's because they don't build these women up enough. If you're not in the main title picture, then you're just like, oh, we'll throw you in this week, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. And then we got Noob saying that Willow Nightingale has been competing in AEW since the pandemic. So she's been there
long time,
for a while. She's been there for a while. So
she's also wrestled at Love Pro Wrestling.
That is true. She did have a match over at LPW up in Edmonton in the rec room. Right. So that was a lot of fun too.
She beat Zoe Sager.
Yeah. All right. Then we have Poc defending the All Atlantic Championship against Trent Baretta. I've been a fan of Trent Baretta since his WWE days. Like, I like Trent a lot, but Trent has absolutely no chance of beating Poc here. He will not beat Poc. Yeah, I mean, I expect this match to be good. It's two really, really good professional wrestlers. But again, there's no intrigue for me in this match. I look at all three of these matches, and like the Willow Jade one is maybe the only one I could see like a shock victory where I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. But the other two that we're going to talk about, like, I just look at this card and I'm like, yeah, these are three matches that I think the majority of us kind of know how they're going to go.
Yeah.
And this is one where, do I expect it to be a very fun, good professional wrestling match? Absolutely. Yeah. But I don't have to watch the show to know that Poc is going to retain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I understand that it's hard to have every title match be like, oh, you know what? Like, this is really up in the air. I get that. But like, this is like, no way is Trent winning that match. No way.
No.
It's just, you know,
I don't know. It's just, there's no story there at all. And I'm not saying every match is going to have this WrestleMania build worth story, but there's nothing there. What? Because he faced Orange Cassidy a couple weeks ago, or they've been Death Triangle and Best Friends have been feuding on and off for a few years. Okay, cool. I mean, this is a quarterly special that should be special. It's not special. These things have literally never been special. And there's matches that I look at thinking, okay, that's a cool attraction. And like you said, a lot of these matches are good matches. The in-ring action will never be questioned in AEW. The in-ring action is probably better than any company out there, maybe aside from New Japan, even better than that in certain cases. But the wrestling itself is great. Like, some of these matches, it's like they're just good matches and there's nothing else there. Like, why would this be? And it probably is going to be the main event of this upcoming show. Why? I mean, this feels like a fucking dark main event. I like both guys. The match is going to kick ass, I'm sure. But the problem is, why? Like, Trent hasn't been focused on his own. Pac hasn't. I mean, he's been doing the All Atlantic stuff in other companies. I think that's cool.
I do too.
But as the main event of this quarterly special, I think back to the quarterly specials of WCW and NWA and shit like that. This is fucking amateur hour shit. I mean, why would anyone stay up after 2 hours of SmackDown? If you're watching Bound for Glory, maybe after that, Rampage, listen, I'm not, it's not a knock on Pac and Trent, but the fact that this shit is it's embarrassing. I don't know, dude. It's going to be a good match. Pac is winning, but like you said, no incentive to think that Trent's going to win this at all.
No.
Why not just make this a 2-hour Rampage special like they did?
Yeah.
Was it last week with Grand Slam? Just say, hey, this is the Battle of the Belts 2-hour Rampage, because like calling it something separate from your out, like it just doesn't sit. I don't know. If I'm up, I'm up. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll watch it.
If I'm
but
up,
likelihood, I'm beating my cereal, Saturday morning.
Yeah, watching it, fast forwarding through the commercials.
I don't need to see that.
Yeah, and again, and like Graham just said, this is not a knock on the performers. This has nothing to do with the performers. The matches are going to be good. They're going to be entertaining. They're going to be fun. But you're having a battle of the belts where the titles are being defended, and there's not one intriguing story with any of these matches. Because the third match is FTR putting the Ring of Honor tag team titles on the line against the, oh my God, was it the Gates of Agony? Right?
Gates of Agony.
Gates of Agony,
yep.
Which, again, like
who?
Yeah, it's like one of those things where like they look impressive. The match will be good because it's an FTR match, and every FTR match is good.
Right.
So the match is going to be good, but at the same time, like I don't know who these guys are to the that well. I know who they are, but like I don't know who they are really that well. I've never seen them wrestle a ton. And like, what's the story that they came out and they beat the crap out of whatever happened on Dynamite, Wardlow, and FTR came out and they had a stare down. So then automatically 2 days later, they're defending, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's not a story. That's not a story. Like FTR came out to defend their friend who was getting the shit kicked out of him by a group of people, and they had a stare down. So now all of a sudden these guys deserve a Ring of Honor tag team championship match. Like, again, it's just one of those things where like, will the wrestling match be good? Yes. Do I love FTR? Absolutely. Who doesn't? But at the same time, it's like, what intrigue is there for me to watch? Like, I can miss this show, and I ain't going to miss shit.
Exactly.
I'm not going to miss anything.
That's what the ratings on the fucking toilet for these shows, yeah.
Yeah, this is such an AEW thing. Like, hey, you want more FTR on your television programming? Join us at 11:45 on a Friday.
11:45 p.m. as they main event Rampage, probably as they main event Battle of the Belts. Jeez. It's like, okay, how about you put them on Dynamite? How about that?
Like a prominent position. None of this.
Like how are they not the first contenders to the Acclaimed for the tag? Like, what are we doing?
Contenders to the tag titles when you're the first defense for any face getting beat up.
That's fair. That's fair.
I agree with that. But I just feel like they should have more of a story at this point. These guys have been spinning their wheels for 6 months now. The fact they have 3 sets of titles and we barely see them on the show, and they're probably, let's be honest, one of the best tag teams in the entire fucking world. Not even the company, the entire world.
Yeah, no,
and we see them for maybe a cup of coffee each week. It's ridiculous. Completely inexcusable to me.
Yeah, it is. And like, they got hosed. They got hosed because they were supposed to fight the Young Bucks at All Out for all the belts, and that was what was supposed to happen. And they got hosed for the trio stuff, and then then it's even worse in hindsight because of everything that happened after All Out. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, bruh, like, and it's just, how do you not have one of the best, in my opinion, the best tag team in the world? You could argue that. I mean, I don't even think it's an argument at this point. They're one of the best all-time tag teams ever already. And it's like one of those things where like you have them on your roster. They're there. And like the only time I feel like we've seen that, like Dax has solo matches, single matches, which are great. He's great. He's just a great wrestler. But like, when was the last time that, like you said, 6 months, like when was the last time that they had a meaningful match on AEW? Obviously Ring of Honor, the Death Before Dishonor, the 2 out of 3 falls. That was a very good match. Like,
Forbidden Door too.
Forbidden Door as well. They had great, like, but it's one of those things where it's like, why are they not in high profile matches on Dynamite weekly? They should be they should be wrestling every other week at like the least. Like, you have this all-time tag team who is over as hell, getting their flowers finally after being the chicken shit like bad old school heels for their whole career. The crowd wants to see them. The crowd loves them. And they're just middling. They're just middling, doing middling bullshit. And that's not me saying the Ring of Honor tag team titles don't matter, because they do. But at the same time, like, that's cool that they defend those belts. But like, When am I going to see them like in a high profile match, main event in Dynamite? When am I going to see them opening the show on Dynamite? Like, they're FTR for fuck's sake. Like, let's go here. What are we doing?
It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, man. I mean, you go back literally a year. It just because you're not in the title picture, like the AEW title picture, which we all want to see. But like you guys said, I mean, you're not going to have them face the Acclaim right out of the gate. I mean, I get that. But I go back to like 14 months ago. They feuded for a couple of months with Santana Ortiz and had a pair of awesome fucking matches. Yeah. And that was a feud. Wasn't lighting the world on fire, but it made sense. They had great matches. I cared to see it. The build made sense. What happened to that? This company is supposed to have the best tag team division in the world. They have a lot of tag teams. A lot of those teams, I'm sorry, at this point, just don't matter. They don't matter because they're either never on the show or don't have stories. It's the division's falling apart too. And I feel like FTR should be an important part of that, having feuds regardless of whether they're free. And they have they have 3 titles. I mean, I know they just defended the New Japan ones a week ago. Before that, they hadn't defended them since they won them in June. And I don't know if that's a New Japan thing. I don't know, man. Just inexcusable. I go back to that.
Yeah.
Like it's malpractice. It's insane.
It is
malpractice.
It is.
My thing is like for that, it's like, okay, you have FTR come out and talk about how they're the best. Just have one of those tag teams you just spoke of that aren't doing anything come up and be upset with them and let them wrestle just on the show.
Dude,
and say, hey, we're coming for that number 1 spot.
Yeah,
or have
it
them
is so bizarre to me.
Swerve and Lee. Why are we running back Swerve and Lee? They just lost the titles. Like, we don't need to run that back. Like, get them out of that and just do something. You can prolong it a little bit. And I honestly, at this point, I don't think if FTR took a loss to the Acclaimed, it'd be the worst thing in the world.
Oh no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't affect them at all.
It's not a good idea. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Or the Acclaimed, like, hey, you had your flowers. You're over. I don't know. You got to do something.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
I'm not a booker.
No, but like, it's very simple. You have FTR come out cutting a promo about how they're the best tag team in the world, and you can have any tag team on your roster come out and go, all right, well.
Or you could have Lee and Swerve.
Yeah, have Lee and Swerve come out. But it can even be one of those tag teams that we haven't seen. Even a lower tier tag team can come out and say,
or just
well, we're coming at you. We're going to challenge you. And then just let them have a 15-minute banger of a match. Like, it's not, like Graham said, it's not rocket science here. Like, it's just bizarre. It's bizarre some of the way things go. It's just... I don't know. It's weird.
Speaking of bizarre.
Go ahead, Graham.
No, I was just going to say, and then I think a week or two ago, we haven't seen this since. They teased it on Dynamite 2 weeks ago, them and the Gun Club. I mean, if that's the best they can do for fucking FTR, they honestly may as well be better off gone. I mean, that's just, I don't care for those guys at all. I know they're in a more prominent position now, but if Gun Club is the best you can do for FTR on this show, I don't know if I would rather have FTR off the show or not, because that's just embarrassing to me.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird. Like, and I know we've seen the matches before, but like the Lucha Bros can't have a banger with FTR to open the show one weekend, like Private Party. Like, you got a lot of tag teams, just throw a team at them and let them just wrestle.
You can overprotect the stars you're trying to protect.
Yeah, and I think Spencer says it right. FTR wrestling is dramatically better than FTR not wrestling, no matter who they're wrestling. I think the three of us could have a good match. We could go out there and have a 4-star match with FTR, you know?
With AEW is they never had a problem just putting 2 hot teams or 2 hot people together and let them go. They've all of a sudden they're like, well, we got to protect this person. This person can't take a loss here. But it's like, that's what we complained about in the other company, was that they were just they were just smozling all these because they didn't want people taking losses. You can overprotect people. That's what they're doing. They're overprotecting FTR. Let them wrestle. I don't care who. Just let them wrestle.
Unreal. All right.
I can't believe you pay that team to not wrestle on top of it.
I know.
That's dead money. That's not good for budgets.
Unbelievable. Speaking of the other company, let's transition over to Extreme Rules. But before we do that, why don't we pay some bills here? Why don't we, our friend the Wordsmith, who just made his triumphant return back to Love Wrestling this past Monday with poetry of a promo. He did the Daddy Magic. What was it? It was after Blood and Guts, right? Yeah. After Blood and Guts, that Daddy Magic backstage promo, which I still think is the promo of the year. He did that, so go check that out. Follow poetry of a promo.
Marina Shafir's promo from Dark the other day.
Why was it good?
Don't get me started on that.
Oh, was it bad? I didn't see it at all. Was it real bad?
Don't. Yeah, it was bad.
Should I not?
You know me.
Well, I mean, it was
me.
bad. It was bad enough that it's maybe worth a watch. If you're looking for a good laugh and you're down in the dumps, then probably go watch
check
it.
But Noob, you are correct. Matt Menard is awesome. Daddy Magic rules. But
let's hit
our
this
friend,
commercial, pay these bills, and talk.
Let's pay the bills over at Manscaped with our friend the Wordsmith. Then we'll come back here with Graham and we'll dive into Extreme Rules. Well, I guess that video, we'll try one more time. Whatever. Live TV, guys. We can just do the banner. I can talk it too.
Right now, enter the promo code Love Wrestling. You get 20% off your entire order and free shipping worldwide. So your balls don't look like Matt Menard's face in that promo.
Yeah, manscaped.com, promo code Love Wrestling. Tell them that that we sent you over there. You like the partnership we got going on. Like Pluggo said, you will get 20% off your first order plus free shipping worldwide. Can be living anywhere, and you'll get free shipping. That's over on manscaped.com. All right. Let's dive into the meat of this because I think we might be on tap for one of the better WWE pay-per-views. I'm not calling them PLEs. PLEs can go fuck themselves.
I agree. I've never called them that once.
No, correct. They are pay-per-views to me forever. I think Extreme Rules really is lining up to be, it's going to be good. I'm not going to go on a limb and say an all-timer here, but it's lining up to be very, very good. And we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about it. There's only 6 matches booked as of this moment. I would not be shocked if they add a 7th on SmackDown, maybe just to make it 7. But I do feel like in the Triple H era, in the few pay-per-views we've had, not including SummerSlam, he's kind of had smaller. It feels like a hybrid of a takeover, but like on the main roster level, if that makes sense. Like less matches, more time, real good stories. That's just the vibe we're getting, right? And Dustin said, not a single match on the card with normal rules, exactly what an Extreme Rules event should be, 100%. Not one men's title match yet. I don't know if maybe they'll add the Usos on a match or something like that. Who knows? We'll see. But not one men's title match currently. And like Spencer said, which is completely and utterly fine when the stories are good, 100%. There's not one. Clearly, Roman is not on this. There's not a world title match. There's not any other men's title matches on this show, but this show is still lining up to be a potential show of the year type thing for WWE, which is incredible when you think about where we were with WWE even, 2.5, 3 months ago. So let's dive in.
In the chat, let us know what's your favorite Extreme Rules stipulation.
That's happening on Saturday or just in general?
Just in general. I'm
curious. Well, I'll ask you guys. What is your favorite stipulation match in general?
Judy Bagwell on a pole.
I'm pretty simple. We're getting one of them on this show, but I've always been a ladder match guy. Yeah, I've always been a ladder match guy. I've always been a ladder match guy. You can throw TLC into that, I guess, because it's kind of the same. But I have always been a ladder match guy.
I Quit match. Those are fun.
Really? I don't mind I Quit matches. I think, and again, this is a Triple H. Yeah, I was gonna say this is a Triple H I Quit match, so we'll see. Yeah. I do feel like Last Man Standings and I Quit matches the last handful of years, slightly longer, had become a little bit of
exactly.
They're
very
casket match.
Yeah,
casket match. All right.
When I was a kid, I always thought the flames around the ring were the Inferno match.
The Inferno match. Ooh, that was a doozy. I do feel like Hell in a Cell was special before they made it a pay-per-view and kind of watered it down. But Hell in a Cell was something early on that when a Hell in a Cell match was happening, it was like, oh shit. I'm also a fan of the Elimination Chamber. I like the Elimination Chamber a lot too. But I've always been a ladder match guy. I love it. All right, let's dive in here. The match that I think will open the show is we're going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned Donnybrook. We're going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned Donnybrook. I am looking forward to this one. I could see these guys beat the shit out of each other forever.
Not to be confused with the Dana Brooke.
No, not to be confused with the Dana-Brooke. This is the Donnybrook. And we are going to have the Brawling Brutes going up against Imperium. Now, if I'm mistaken, tomorrow night on SmackDown, Walter is fighting Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship again, correct?
Correct.
Is that happening tomorrow, right?
That's on SmackDown,
Do we think Sheamus is winning tomorrow night?
I think there's a chance, and I wouldn't hate to see it because I think Sheamus deserves it, and I think him winning his first Intercontinental Championship would be an awesome moment. The only thing is
Grand Slam it for him, correct? Right?
Yeah, that's what he wants.
Champion at that point. Yep.
He probably cares more about that title than anyone else in the company, and God bless him for that. That's at a time when titles don't really mean as much as they obviously used to. That's like saying the sky is blue. I think that's admirable, but I wouldn't do it tomorrow night. I would wait until, I mean, we're thinking long term here. I'm thinking Mania or something, and the problem with that is that by Mania, maybe LA Knight is a super hot single star. Maybe he takes the belt off of Gunther a year after he lost his NXT farewell to Gunther at Stand and Deliver, same weekend. You could do that. Or anyone else on the SmackDown roster. Maybe there's a draft and someone comes over from Raw. Who knows? I wouldn't take the belt off of Gunther yet. He's only been in the main roster for like 6 months. He was undefeated in NXT UK for like fucking 2 or 3 years. I mean, I would wait a little bit longer, and I want to see a long reign. So I think they're doing this to give Gunther the win on Friday. And then on Saturday, since Imperium won the first 6-man, which was one of my favorite TV matches all year, the Brawling Brutes will win that one. And they'll kind of get the final say, even though Sheamus isn't champion, everyone kind of wins. So that's what I'm expecting to happen this weekend.
Yeah, Pluggo.
Well, that because like Tuesday night, they showed up and cost the Brawling Brutes a match on NXT. I don't know if anybody pays attention to NXT here, but I guess it all factors in, right?
Yeah, no,
and that's kind of so. If they, I'm leaning the Brawling Brutes again. Like I think, what's the next pay-per-view after this?
Well, they're going to do a Crown Jewel. They're doing Crown Jewel, but the next,
they could run Sheamus Gunther at Crown Jewel and
100% they could
if they wanted to. So yeah, I'm with the Brutes on this one. I think that Imperium needs to take a loss, and this is how you do it. I feel good about, this is one of those. It's like I don't love it. I don't love the idea of Sheamus losing, but I think he's gonna.
Yeah,
he should have won it at the Castle. He was so over. It was insane. They should have pulled an audible, did it there, and then just figured out a way to get Gunther the title.
I have
because 2 title reigns is better than 1.
I have watched that Gunther Sheamus match from the Castle like 6 times.
That's my favorite.
Like a lot of times. It was amazing. Like that's one of my favorite matches of the year. Like
Can we just call him Walter again? I hate Gunther.
I'm actually coming along to Gunther. I think it's never going to be Walter, but it's all right. It's not.
How more badass would it be if it was Walter versus Pete Dunne, not Gunther?
I mean, yes, Pete Dunne, I'm all for. We got to get that Butch. He basically is Pete Dunne now. Like he wears the outfit. Like he has brought back everything that Pete Dunne was, except the name Pete Dunne. Like just let him be Pete Dunne. You know what I mean? But
I'm like zooming in, going, does it say Pete Dunne? Because that's Pete
I know, right? Yeah, it's going to happen one of these weeks. You just know
it will. It will. I am with both of you guys. I do think that the Brawling Brutes get the victory here, kind of answer back to the loss that because they had the 6-man on TV, which Imperium got the victory of. So I do think they answer, and they kind of, whether it leads to a rubber match, 6-man tag on TV again or whatever. Like I said, I could see these guys kind of fight forever. Sheamus and Gunther in general, but the whole team's like, they're all just intense, hard-hitting savages, really. They're just savages, and they just beat the shit out of each other, and that's the kind of wrestling I like. Oh, my God, Sammy Guevara would be so complaining. Sheamus would be like, ooh, when Sheamus is giving him the clubs, he'd be like, I'm going to murder this guy. I'm murdering this guy.
It would hit him even harder,
Yeah, exactly. All right. We then have a good old-fashioned strap match between Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. I don't know where this kind of came from, but on social media, there's a certain section of wrestling Twitter that thinks that this is where, and we'll dive into this conversation too, because there are rumors that the White Rabbit will be possibly debuting or returning, pending on who the reports or who you think it might be. A lot of people are thinking it will be Bray Wyatt for obvious reasons. A lot of people are thinking that we might see the White Rabbit appear on this show. And I've seen a lot of banter on Twitter of how for some reason, they think it'll be involved potentially in the Karrion Kross match. I don't know if it's just because Karrion Kross's character is kind of not supernatural, but it has that element to it a little bit. I think people automatically assume that if Bray Wyatt's involved, it's going to be a group. Like Bray Wyatt's going to run a group always, just because he's like, you know. But in general, obviously, we'll talk about the strap match. I'm expecting this match to be fine. This is the match I think I'm personally the least invested in on the show. Not because I dislike both guys. It's just, you know, I just feel like this is like the most throwaway match on the show. I am expecting Karrion Kross to win. I don't think a loss really hurts McIntyre, and I think Kross needs a big win. This is his first his first pay-per-view match since coming back, I believe. So I think, you know, beating Drew McIntyre is not a bad thing. So that's kind of where I'm leaning with this. You know, the White Rabbit stuff, I don't know if that will end up happening or something like that, but I'm expecting a Karrion Kross victory here.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat too. I think the feud's been fine so far. I think this is a must-win situation for Kross, though. I mean, even if he was to look really good in defeat, Triple H has got to know that the guy losing his first major singles match, he's only had one singles match on SmackDown since he returned. That was against Gulak a month ago, beat him, and that was it. He's got to win. And listen, love Drew. I don't think Drew loses anything from losing this match. I know he lost to Roman at Clash, but before Clash, when was the last time Drew lost? I'm pretty sure it was Crown Jewel last year to Big E in a singles match. That was it. That was a year ago. So he can afford the loss. Maybe Kross cheats to win, or there's shenanigans, bullshit, whatever. I feel like he has to win here. Even if you were to have Kross lose here and he wins the rematch, and not that it wouldn't matter, but people would not care as much. I mean, this is the match that means the most. The first one of the series, no rematch, no bullshit, whatever. He's got to win this. Maybe clean, hopefully, to really put over Kross strong. How do you have Kross position as one of the top heels on SmackDown internally, reportedly, and have him lose his first pay-per-view back? I did not that it would be as bad as what happened to him last year, but just not a good message to send. I wouldn't be overly upset if he lost, but I think he has to win this, and I think he will.
Yeah. Pluggo, I'll let you finish this, and then I think somebody just kind of
what
blew
just
up
happened?
I think we might have a response to our video from beginning of the show that just popped in here. So
I will say
way to go, Pluggo. Way to go.
What,
now we're going to get yelled at by a professional wrestler who can kick the shit out of us in a couple minutes. So great. Looking forward to that. Let me know who's winning the strap match before we get our asses handed
I
to
love
us
a good
here.
old-fashioned strap match, but I'm on board too. Karrion Kross is the guy that did the most, because we all remember the BDSM bondage helmet thing. And if you have him take an L in his first high-profile match, that does take a lot of luster off of Karrion Kross. I don't think you'll see any White Rabbit involvement here as much as shit.
Yeah, we're about to be in
sorry,
trouble.
Graham.
Poor Graham. I'm sorry you're in the crossfire here, man. It's all right. I'm sorry you're in the crossfire.
I don't think you see any Brave Wyatt or White Rabbit involvement, because I think that in itself could be something that you close a show with, and just his appearance alone is enough. And then we find out what he wants to get involved with later on.
Okay. Well, before we move on, we have a special guest who just popped in the back. We have one Rich King from the RADz.
Here.
I'm pretty sure he's going to answer and probably not be thrilled with us.
We'll see.
I'm going to do my thing and blame Pluggo. But hi, Rick. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Welcome.
What's up, nerds? I heard you bitches have been talking shit about us for getting our pie row last show.
I mean,
think we
my boy Ben
shit.
just called me.
I think
said
we
something
were
about
simply
some type
saying
of lawyer coming on your show and trying to sue us.
Intellectual
You think you can
property.
sue the RADz? You think we have anything worth suing for? Look at these shirts. They're the best things going in Canadian professional wrestling. You guys don't know what you're doing. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve pyro like we deserve. And guess what? It's only going to be bigger and better. We put our hard-earned POs on the line, baby. We went to Saskatchewan to make some lizard money, and we ended up getting those pie rows. So you guys doing that? You guys going to Saskatchewan and making lizard money?
Yeah, we don't have to do that. We've got Spencer money.
I know. I use Spencer's money.
Yeah, we use Spencer's
I know what
money.
Spencer money
we don't
looks
have
like,
to
and it
work
ain't much.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much. It's not much because we spend it all. To be honest with you,
we spend it all on our pyrotechnics that you clearly stole from us. That's our gimmick.
I don't see any of that. I don't see any of that.
We've got a guest on. We're being professional. We're being classy gentlemen tonight.
You know what? Your guest can eat shit too. It's the
What?
life.
Oh, that's not nice.
Of the show. It is Hot Rad summer, baby, all year long. It doesn't matter if it's October, December, January, March. It's always going to be Hot Rad summer. We're coming for those tag team titles. Mitch Clark's already got the Challenge Championship. Our boy Ben Omen is doing his job well, keeping us paid, making us laid, and hell, getting us more pyro, baby.
So
and you know what?
Before we kick you out of here, do you get money from lizards, or is that like how
Lizard people? Haven't you watched Tales from the Undercard? Go back on YouTube and check out our Tales from the Undercard episode.
Oh, I watched it. I clearly know that that's where you guys
and listen,
got the idea.
Before I bail on you nerds, I'm going to tell you one thing. The RADz here are for 3 things. We're in LPW to touch tips, shake our hips, and win some damn championships. Peace out.
I have to interview them next week. You understand that, Pluggo? Like, I have to have an actual professional interview with them next week. And now we're on their shit list. We're on their shit list. Do you know how hard of an interview that's going to be for me next week? Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be awesome. I'm sure.
You?
Anyway, Jesus Christ. Graham, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm sorry that he threw you in there and he insulted you. That was uncalled.
Yeah, that was uncalled for. You'll be
that was uncalled for.
Lawyer next week.
And that is true. Spencer saying that Pluggo also did have a real hard time with Mitch Clark as well. So, well, anyway.
For those that don't know, day one in this company that we're a part of, we were told no pyrotechnics. Spencer does not like fireworks. So what did we do? Opening show, first minute, we lit some sparklers to celebrate. We've been doing the sparkler gimmick, Rich King, since day one here at Between Two Beards, and all of a sudden it's making its way onto LPW without any sort of like, hey, we got the idea there. Those guys are, oh geez, we just want our just due. That's all we want. We want credit where credit is due. We will send this videotape that is going to be clipped to our lawyer. He will handle it. Back to Extreme Rules. I've said enough. I've said too much. Lawrence is probably going to yell at me.
Our lawyer's probably like, bro, stop talking. Stop talking.
So let's move on.
All right, let's get back to business, shall we? Jeez Louise. Anyway, all right. We then have an I Quit match between Edge and Finn Balor. This match I'm very much looking forward to. This is a match I want to see. I think this is a match that has never happened before. Which is pretty right. Am I wrong? I don't think this has ever happened. Yeah, right. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Graham, I'll kind of, before we dive into your opinions of the match, how have you felt about Judgment Day? And I'm expecting Judgment Day to be involved here. I'm expecting, honestly, probably Rey Mysterio to be involved at some point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm expecting this to kind of continue and stuff like that. How have you felt about Judgment Day since kind of the new iteration with Finn and Edge not being a part of it and now Dom and all this stuff? Like, what are your general opinions of Judgment Day? And then you can kind of lead into how you're feeling about this match.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the popular opinion or not. I have really not been digging it since Balor took over. I think I might have been the opposite, where I dug it more when Edge was at the helm. And I know a lot of people didn't like the promos he was cutting. And listen, people just want to instinctually cheer for Edge. And I get it. And I think the promo work is better with him as a face than as a heel. But him as a heel was something different. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Then they kind of just all of a sudden took him right out of the thing. I know injuries happen. Cody got hurt, shit like that. But Finn Balor just really has not been positioned as a threat at all. And they've won matches on TV, which is great. But they've lost whenever it has mattered most. Like, they lost at SummerSlam. They lost at Clash of the Castle. I think Finn could win here. I just the internal, even with Triple H in charge. I know we saw that report recently. Oh, the Balor's going to be the new guy they focus on, and good, rightfully so. Balor's great.
Oh, he's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Just I don't know if this thing. It just hasn't clicked for me. I don't know. It's weird, and they've done a better job lately of putting more heat on them, which is good. The Dominic thing kind of freshes things up a little bit, which is I did not expect that at all. I mean, I'm not saying Dominic makes the group, but it's weird, man. I'm just kind of ready for whatever's next because I feel like we've been seeing them against Edge and Ray for like fucking 6 months. I'm just ready for whatever's next for them. I don't know. I think Ripley should kind of be positioned as the centerpiece. I just feel like she's the real star of that group. I love Priest. I love
agree.
Balor. I don't know, man. It's weird. The match. I'm looking forward to the match. I think, like you said, it will be first time ever Edge and Balor. I quit matches can be very hit or miss. I think the match will be good unless they can get Beth involved somehow and they go after Beth, and that's why Edge quits, which I can see how Balor could win that. Do we then get another match from these two at Crown Jewel? I'm just ready for this whole thing to be over, and it's not going to end until we get Ray and Dom one-on-one. But I don't know. I think Edge wins.
which I think Ray and Dom is a Mania match, is it not? Even though, do
you wait 6 months? That's the problem.
I don't know if you can. I think Edge needs to go do something else.
Yeah.
I think at some point you need to transition this story from being about Edge getting revenge to just, this is Ray. They're torturing Ray. And then I think you have to, you got to get Edge out of there and on to other things. That's just how I feel. And I get it. Edge came back as the good guy after they took him out. And he was like, my sole purpose is to destroy what I created. I understand that. But what Spencer says, I stand by that. They should have turned Dom at Hell in a Cell on Father. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against that. He should have said Happy Father's Day and then kicked Ray in the nuts. That's exactly what should have happened. But regardless, I just feel like that level of match. And look at Dom. I agree from a storyline perspective that Dom kind of breathed a little bit of new life into the Judgment Day, but Dom is not good. He's not.
He should have been in the
rough.
NXT.
Yeah, it's rough. He's not a great promo. He's not great in the ring. And again, this is not me saying I dislike the kid. But he looks like he doesn't belong in certain levels of the performance, right?
And Noob with that highlighted comment dropping those channel points for this.
So here we go. He says, I believe that Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, and Beth Phoenix are going to be involved in this match. I believe Beth will most likely going to be throwing in the towel for Edge, allowing a win. I mean, we got one of the best I Quit matches between Charlotte. That is true. I would love Beth Phoenix to get involved. I would, because I down the line, I want to see Rhea Ripley versus Beth Phoenix. And I know that's a dream match of Rhea Ripley's, she's openly said it. Yeah. I think that would be incredible. And I agree 100% with you, Graham, I think Rhea Ripley should be positioned as the leader of this group. She runs the show. I think that's the direction they should go in because she is of that caliber. She's incredible. She's the one that you want to see out of the group. And I like all the people in the group. I love Finn Balor. I was almost called the Punishment Martinez. I love Damian Priest, and I love Rhea Ripley. And Dom is fine. I just think, are they really going to just feud with Edge and Ray for 10 months? Is that what we're doing? Where is the thing going? And it seems like they're starting, and Noob said it, they're starting to layer in AJ Styles with Finn because of the Bullet Club connection. Yeah. And I wonder, he's been saying for a long time, you have no friends. And we saw some dysfunction on Raw with even AJ Styles and poor Ray. Everyone's just shitting on Ray. Poor guy, just shitting on him. Everybody. Yeah. You can't get your break. Do we think maybe with the history, do we think the Good Brothers come back maybe? And that's I just felt it was very Finn yelling at AJ, you have no friends. You have no friends. That to me is in your storyline, if you're referring to the Bullet Club, his friends are the Good Brothers. Those are his friends.
Yeah.
And they're not really doing anything right now. So I don't know. I just wonder where this all goes. Are we just trying to get to a multi-man match? So it's AJ, Edge, and Ray versus Dom, Priest, and where are we going? Because the Edge thing has been going on since Mania.
I think I'm going to put him on. I'm going to put him on. He asked in the private chat. What was your thought? It was a good thought about where this could go. Maybe
so I thought maybe down the line, because we already kind of have an idea that we're going to Survivor Series and War Games. Do we see this going to either a War Games match or to a traditional Survivor Series match where it's two teams and they eliminate each other?
I could see this one being a traditional. I think the War Games match has got to be the Bloodline. I think
It
the
has to be.
Bloodline has to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
involved, right?
I was thinking that
So
same thing too, Alex. Though, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
So that's a
I was
good
thinking it was
call out
supposed
by
to.
you.
I don't want it to be, but I think it could be though. I think it
Like,
could.
yeah.
Be.
It just has all the makings for it. Like, you know, we're throwing all the ingredients in the pot. Like, we've got Beth, we've got AJ, we got RADz, we got everybody in.
Oh, I
Judgment Day.
wouldn't
It
mind
just-
a multi like a intergender.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Like
would be
elimination
awesome, yeah.
old school match. That would be dope.
Yeah.
That would be dope. I think that would be cool.
I mean, we're in the generation of change for WWE, so why the hell not?
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool if they did an intergender elimination match and you throw Rhea and Beth, you have Dom, Pre. I think could be cool. I would not be against that.
And now you
That's a
know
good
what's
call out by
happening
you.
now.
Now,
You know
Alex,
what-
please
you know,
get the
you
fuck
know the
off my
drill.
screen. Thank you. All right, get out of here. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, anyway.
That's where I was
Sorry.
gonna say. So like this whole thing has been they drew it out too long. I was part of that group that liked it when it was Edge, and then there was all those rumors that he didn't want it to go to this supernatural place, so they just removed him. But I think it was more because they needed a face. Shout out to Throwback for the raid. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh,
Welcome
thank
to
you
the
so
chat.
much for the raid throwback. Appreciate you.
But yeah, again, I don't know what you do. Dom, for me, like, it's just he was up there Monday night talking, and it just doesn't work. He has no lack of a better word edge to him, where it's like,
he definitely lacking in the charisma department.
And Rhea is
100%,
hearing all of it, and it's just like none of this makes any sense. We know this is not believable. The AJ stuff, I'm even to the point like AJ Styles is a performer that you don't need to have friends, but if you want to get the Good Brothers involved, sure. I don't know what they're gonna do, but you can't have the Judgment Day take another loss because then it's just I never believe that because your whole thing is just ruining people. You don't win ever. It's not believable. If I had to guess, though, I say Finn gets a win in some crazy way that sets up maybe they do 2 War Games matches at Survivor Series.
Well, they are, but I think one of them is going to be late. They're doing one ladies and one.
No, but maybe this is the one.
It could be. It could be.
I don't know. I don't.
I'm leaning Finn Balor as well. I just look at this and I go, Edge can lose this match and he's still going to be Edge. He's still going to be Edge come Raw. You know what I mean? Like, Finn Balor needs
taking a lot of losses too, though. His runs,
it is true.
He does take a.
It is true. It is true.
Yeah, but you have to remember too, he hasn't lost in over a year. He's won a lot lately. Like he won at Clash, he came back at SummerSlam, but he won at WrestleMania, he won at Hell in a Cell, he won at Backlash, he beat Miz twice, he beat Rollins. He has won. He's on like a 10-match winning streak. Like if this was fucking AEW, we were doing rankings, he'd be contending for the title tomorrow.
Be number 1.
You know,
that's fair. I guess
He
I
has to lose
forgot
it.
about not his whole year, but he started off losing, and
I agree. Yes.
Then he was hurt, and then it's weird. I don't know. I feel like this is like they got out of some way where they can either figure out what to do with Dom because he weighs it down, and I think that I can't believe that he's not picking anything up from the 3 of these talented individuals he's with every week. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Alex in the private chat again had he said, and with Edge's career clearly like winding down here over the next probably year, maybe 2, however long, like this is the moment where he should be not losing every time, but he should be losing and putting people.
I guess
over,
I forgot
putting
that
the
they
future
won
over,
the match because he got his ass kicked by Dominic Mysterio at the Clash. I forgot. Oh, poor.
Yeah. But I'm with you guys. I think Finn needs a win here, and I think there will be some bullshit, some chicanery that happens.
Before we move to the next match, is there any chance Rey Mysterio loses tonight?
Loses what?
Loses an eye.
Loses
at some point this thing, comes out, gets involved somehow. Dom takes his eye out,
takes his eye out, just repeats it, just goes, you know what, Seth, I'm doing it. Okay. That'd be something.
It was at Extreme Rules. It was the horror show.
It was.
Just saying.
So that was
Extreme Rules last year the one where the zombies came? Was that the zombies?
No, that was WrestleMania Backlash, I think.
That's right, Backlash. Remember that with the zombies? God,
fucking
COVID time was fucking real. The COVID time was a trip, guys. It was a trip, zombies and shit.
Jesus Christ.
All right, we then have what I think will be the best match of the night. I think it could. I think it could be. I think it might be.
No, history will not repeat itself.
For the Raw Women's Championship, we have Bianca Belair defending against Bayley in a ladder match. Pluggo, I'll let you lead this time, my friend. We think Bayley wins here. We think that Bayley wins to complete all the gold and damage control. Where are you thinking? Where were you thinking?
I feel like wouldn't have put the ladder match stipulation into this if it's not Bayley's win.
Sure.
It was like damage control is 100% get involved, but I have this feeling that Asuka or Alexa is turning on Bianca Belair. There's just too many. Too much star power. Not involved. I mean, they're not going to be buddy forever, and I think ultimately damage control holding all the goal is the game, is the end here. Bayley's on fire. Dakota and Io are on fire. And Bianca's had a hell of a run. I love Bianca.
Bianca's incredible.
As I look at it, it's just optically, it's okay. So your two top women's contenders.
We losing Pluggo here. I think we're losing Pluggo. Pluggo, your internet's dying on you, bro.
I'm looking on my end. I look great.
I mean, on my end, you look like your 1984 television. To be honest with you, no, I'm just kidding.
It's the white rabbit.
It's a white rabbit coming in.
But if I'm still here, in the ether, I'm picking Bayley because I will never.
You just got choppy for a second. I got worried.
I love Bayley.
So I agree with you that I do think Bayley wins because damage control will get a new ally. And Josh Robinson was real. I'm going to give credit where credit's due, but Josh Robinson kind of threw this at me during the Power Hour when we were recording it. When we were doing the watch along to WWE 2K22 on Tuesday. He thinks it's going to be Candice LeRae. And I'm not 100%. I'm not against that at all. And Candice LeRae just came back. She was involved in the storyline on Monday because she was involved in a match where Dakota beat her. And because of involvement from Bayley and, Alexa and Asuka were out there. Like, she was very much involved in the storyline of this match on Monday. She just came back. He said that to me, and I was like, you think? Because I was under the impression that I would be leaning towards Alexa Bliss being the person that would finally have enough in turn and maybe or just cost Bianca the match or join damage control. But when he threw out Candice to me, I was like, that's not half bad.
Yeah.
And it's been weighing on me more and more as the days pass. And I'm kind of hoping that actually might happen. Either way, I think Bayley wins. It'll be some bullshit that happens. But I think damage control having all the gold, like they were on the ladders at the end of Raw with all the gold. I think that's the story. And then Bianca will become the one chasing again. And there's good story in Bianca chasing because she's amazing. But I just wanted to throw that out there because Josh said that to me, and that was not on my radar at all. But ever since he said it to me, I'm like, oh, I think I like that. I think I would like that a lot. Makes sense. NXT, the connection. Yeah, I liked it. So
it's an idea that makes sense. I've seen that thrown around too, and I'm thinking I wouldn't hate that. My only issue is it's not Candice because Candice has history with Bayley, like you said, could they go back to NXT, her and Dakota, blah, blah, blah. So it would make sense from that standpoint. It has less to do with me, in my opinion, it has less to do with Candice than it does Alexa Bliss. I think Alexa Bliss has to be the person, not to necessarily join damage control, but just be an ally or just turn heel. Her as a babyface has been so fucking boring. And I think the thing is, it's like her in real life. She seems like that's who she is in reality. And she seems like a very sweet person, very nice, someone I would love to hang out with or whatever, watch a Disney movie with, not fucking watch in the ring on Raw. She's fucking boring. The promos are no good. The character development is completely just there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I don't want to see
changed her music and kept the doll, and that was it.
Yeah,
the doll is shit. Not a big fan of the music. Alexa Bliss in the horror stuff was cool for a time before it fell off a fucking cliff last year with the whole pre-tape bullshit and everything else. I feel like Alexa Bliss, Little Miss Bliss from like 2016, 2017, 2018. That's what we need to go back to. And I feel like she's been so like why honestly, from a storyline standpoint, why the fuck is she helping Bianca anyway? Like, there's no reason for her to. And remember, if you go back before SummerSlam, she said before she went out for a match,
she was coming for the title.
I want next for the Raw Women's Championship. Exactly. Yeah. Nothing ever came of it. And I know Triple H well, sorry, go ahead, Pluggo.
No, you go. You were on a roll. I thought you were stopping. There could have been my internet.
No. I was just going to say, I was pretty much done. I was just going to say, I'd rather see Alexa Bliss go heel, and Candice, she just came back. I think she's a natural babyface. She can be a heel. She proved that in NXT. Bayley wins the title, I think. I think Belair could easily win too, but if you want to make War Games make sense with them, I feel like it kind of has to become champion. But Alexa Bliss, something's got to give. I'd rather see her go back to what she was doing a couple of years ago, not be with Bray, and just be a heel. So that's what I want to see personally.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have to, but Bliss doesn't have to cost Belair the match in a heelish way. She could just make a mistake.
Yeah.
And then it comes to blows at the end. There's so many ways you could still do this where Belair safe as all get out and on Bayley, and then you run with that for a little while because clearly that's where you want to go.
Yeah.
I just think it's time for the new in terms. I just think it's time. So this is where I'm really hoping that I'm right on this one.
Yeah.
Because I was dead wrong last time. I called it last time too.
Yeah, we got Dustin saying, regardless of who wins, this will be a really, really good ladder match. I fully agree. I expect this to be a match of the night contender for sure. And then we got Noob saying that they believe that Bayley is winning. Alexa will be turning on Bayley because Becky Lynch is coming back. The Sasha and Naomi stuff, who knows? But I mean, I feel like, and I don't, sometimes the predictable thing is not the worst thing. The predictable thing is the right thing to do sometimes. But I do feel like Damage Control with all the titles is the way you go. This is Bayley's obviously first title match back from being gone. And, the last time we saw Bayley, it was during the COVID era, it was during the pandemic era, and her and Sasha were the MVPs of the company. They held the whole thing down, the whole thing together. And I know she got hurt and it sucked, but I think, nobody's owed anything, but I think Bayley, she deserves the moment of getting the title back for the work that she did and coming back. And she, I'm very biased because Bayley is my favorite female performer in the world. I've loved Bayley forever. She's my favorite of the horsewomen.
Same here.
She's my girl, and I love Bayley. And but yeah, I just think it's the right thing to do, and I do see someone turning. It most likely. Here's my thing. Also, is we're gonna have a War Games match with the ladies at Survivor Series, and it just makes sense that Damage Control would be the team that would be involved in that, but they're going to need more allies than just three of them.
Yeah. And Becky's coming in too. She's coming back soon.
Oh, 100%. And I feel like this is the perfect way to get them to have, maybe not someone that, like Pluggo said, maybe Alexa doesn't join the group. And Graham, you said that too. Maybe Alexa doesn't join the group, but maybe she just is an ally to the group, or she turns heel and, all the bad guys like the bad guys, they're all friends or whatever. And, that's just how it goes. But I think that'll go. I think Bayley is leaving as the Raw Women's Champion. All right. Now we're going to talk about some Fight Pit. So this match again also should absolutely rule. Matt Riddle versus Seth freaking Rollins, with a special guest referee, Daniel Cormier, UFC heavyweight and light heavyweight legend. This has been a long feud. This has been going on for a while. But I like both these guys. Seth Rollins, I can make an argument, has been the MVP of the WWE for the last calendar year. I think from a character work perspective, this is the best he's ever been. And we already know how good he is inside the ring. That's no secret. I think he's really put it together. We do know that regardless of the outcome, he is wrestling Bobby Lashley next week on Raw for the United States Championship. So I don't know if that maybe sways either of your opinion of what's going to happen in this match. I personally think Riddle, they both need a win here. Seth got the big win over Riddle last time, but before that, Seth had been taking a lot of L's.
Yeah.
And however, They both have been taking a lot of L's, to be honest with you. And so I don't really know how you go about it. I'm expecting Cormier to get involved somehow and maybe involved in the finish. Again, I don't want every match to have, bullshit finishes, but it seems like Triple H kind of likes his bullshit finishes a little bit. We saw multiple ones on Raw. I just think that's how Triple H kind of operates a lot of the time. And they can be done well if the story is good. Like, I'm not always against them. I just think Matt Riddle needs this win more, but I would not be okay if Seth Rollins takes a big L here and then 2 days later he's winning the United States Championship on Raw.
That's exactly what I think is going to happen. Yeah, no, that's exactly
I think that's what's going to happen too.
Yeah, I think Riddle is going to win anyway, but I think this just makes it more obvious. Because why the fuck would they have Rollins? I mean, I think the first match was great. Rollins and Lashley was very good. I'm fine with them running it back, but it's not like, I guess Rollins or Riddle cost them the title last time. It's not like it ended in a count out or whatever, like there was no real reason to go back to Rollins and Lashley. Why would they go back to it for Rollins to lose a second time if he's losing on Saturday? It just doesn't make any sense. And that's fine. I think Rollins taking the title's fine. And if he's not going to win the fucking Universal Undisputed Championship, this is the next best thing. So I'm okay with that. Although I do want Roman and Rollins at some point because we never really had that properly concluded. But no, I think Riddle wins here. Regardless of how it happens, he wins a big pay-per-view main event. If this is closing, it could be the women's match. We don't know. We'll get to the White Rabbit stuff in a second, I'm sure. But I think Riddle wins this and Rollins wins the U.S. title on Monday to kind of make up for it.
Yep, I see that's where they're going. Pluggo, we'll let you round this out before we talk about the last match on the card. Maybe the
White Rabbit is Daniel Cormier.
Maybe. Who knows?
He's 100% getting involved. I don't think he would have signed up for this if he couldn't get involved. That dude loves professional wrestling. Daniel is a wrestling stand, so I think he's like, I'll do it, but I'm hitting somebody with a chair.
Yeah.
This is Matt Riddle's element. This is in the fight pit, and I feel bad because I have you forever, but Riddle needs it. Like, they need to establish him as more than just this like goofy bro,
Randy's best friend,
right? But Rollins, man, like, he just keeps taking L after, but he can sustain it. He's killing it.
Yeah,
I think if I had to put a gun to my head, I'd have to say it's Riddle taking the win. Rollins rebounds, catches Lashley, then we push Lashley back up into the title picture on Monday night, or the main title picture. I don't love it. Because I don't want these neither one of these guys. I don't need either one of them taking a loss. But you gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the unfortunate things. And we had Dustin ask, do you think this will have more of a traditional pro wrestling match feel to it or more of a fight feel to it? I mean, obviously it is in the fight pit, and the only way you can win is by either knocking somebody out or making someone tap. So there is that element that it feels like it'll be more of a fight.
Killing somebody the way Riddle has been speaking.
Yeah, true. Like,
that on TV.
I love it. I love that. I'm not just going to beat the crap out of you. Like, I'm going to kill you in that fight.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right.
Heard that on WWE television in
TV 14, bro.
30 years.
No, but they sound like adults. They sound like they're adults talking that don't like each other. Like it, and I think that, sorry, I'm a 37-year-old man. I don't need to be hearing, I could see people getting in a real life argument on the street and someone being like, oh, I'll kill you, man.
Yeah,
okay,
I know, exactly.
Like, that's what, it's how normal people talk.
Yeah, it's not like Goldberg. Goldberg literally last year said he was going to murder Bobby Lashley at Crown Jewel, and he said it multiple times in the lead up to that pay-per-view. This isn't quite that. So
and he would have did it too if it wasn't for his son getting involved in it. I'm just kidding. That was such a weird
Gage.
Gage Goldberg.
But I think we are in agreement that we feel like Riddle needs it more, but we all think that Seth will kind of bounce back.
But then again, I have this. But do you want Seth Rollins coming in on a big loss into a title match, or it means more if he wins?
I mean, I feel like the fact that it was announced before kind of helps, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't like it when somebody loses and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
Unless
Riddle, happens with the briefcase all the time.
Wins it,
100%.
Unless Riddle wins it and then shows Monday and says, well, "Why do you get this match? You just lost." And then
maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. But, and you know, Graham just mentioned the briefcase. They do it all the time. They do it all the time. As you win that briefcase, and it's like, oh, well, that's a guaranteed title victory, so they can lose every match they have until they cash in.
I
It's
know,
like,
but I don't that either.
No. I don't. If this guy's losing every match, then I don't want to see him as my champion. What the hell is that about?
Let's talk about what's wrong with having a Money in the Bank winner. Like when Brock
dominate,
he was a legitimate threat of like he could cash in. He doesn't need this. Like, why can't we have that more often? I mean, the stuff with Theory getting knocked out every time he tries to cash in, like, cool. But like, why can't it be? He can get you anytime he wants. Like Edge, like the ultimate opportunist. Like we knew Edge was a badass. I don't know. That's a whole nother time for a whole nother show.
Yeah.
Let's keep on pushing.
All right. So we have one more match to talk about, and this is an Extreme Rules match. So this is the Extreme Rules named after the event itself. It will be for the SmackDown Women's Championship with Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan publicly saying that Ronda Rousey is going to have to kill her to win this title. And it is Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey. Graham, I'll let you lead. Do you think WWE has done a good job of repairing Liv? Because I felt like the SummerSlam booking really did her a disservice. You got fans chanting, "You tapped out" at her. She's a baby face. Like they really did her a disservice with the way that they booked that SummerSlam match.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the match at Castle with Baszler and just the way they presented her over the last 3 to 5 weeks it's repaired and kind of rebuilt her. Are you along the same lines? Do you feel like they've done a pretty decent job of getting the crowd kind of reinvested in Liv Morgan heading into this?
Yeah, it's a weird situation where there's no defined roles like, oh, Liv's the heel or Ronda's the heel. And usually I would complain, but in this case, it's made the match more interesting, specifically for Liv, and kind of live in a real world scenario, even in a WWE scenario. Is not a threat to Ronda Rousey. She's just not. And she beat her 2 times before due to shenanigans. You can kind of play into that and maybe turn Liv heel, which I thought would have been dumb 2 months ago. But now I'm like, maybe it's not the worst thing. I guess I would rather have that than Charlotte coming back and taking the title fucking from her, which would be embarrassing like that. I know Alex threw in the chat that maybe she could be the White Rabbit. God, I fucking hope not. You might see it would be very bad. I'll be in the building.
Here. Well, this is how we do it proper on Beards. Alex, what the hell is wrong? Get off! What are you doing?
Get off my screen.
But yeah, I mean, I just don't want to see Charlotte back in that role. But yes, with Liv, it's made her more interesting. It's even made Ronda more interesting. The whole kind of anti-authority thing, which they've done to death, but she's been more interesting than she's been since she came back to the company at the beginning of the year. Liv's been more interesting, and I genuinely do not know what's going to happen. I think Rousey takes the title because she has lost to Liv twice now. She doesn't need this win. It doesn't really matter. But maybe Liv wins after Shayna comes in. You mentioned Shayna before, JPJ. I mean, maybe she comes in and costs her the belt because Baszler had that talking to from Ronda where Ronda's like, oh, I want the old Shayna back. And maybe she comes in and beats the shit out of Ronda instead of Liv. So that's one way they can go. I would rather Liv retain, but I think Ronda walks out as champion.
Pluggo?
Maybe some shenanigans happen where Austin Theory gets knocked out at some point throughout the
night. You think he's going to try to get the
SmackDown
Women's Championship? You think he's going to try to
then Ronda just breaks his arm? No. They made a mistake with Ronda by trying to have her be a face. She's not a face. Nothing about her is a face. I mean, the initial first time she came, sure. But when she came back, nobody wanted her to win the Rumble. The Liv stuff has been, I think Liv turns heel tomorrow. Saturday night.
Yeah, right.
She turns heel 100%. I think she has a breaking point. I think maybe she does end up losing to Ronda. Shayna's involvement, maybe Shayna, like you said, maybe Shayna sides with Liv and that could become a thing after I don't know. There's nothing about this that I think we're going to come out of it feeling good about it. And I hate to say that, because Liv has been one of our favorites on this shit, but what they've been doing with her, and they need to repair it. And she can't beat Ronda clean. She's shown she can't, and I don't think you do it. I don't think you can do it now. That's the thing. You had the opportunity to do it at SummerSlam in a way that made sense, and you didn't take it. You can't beat her clean, so she's going to have to align with somebody. So she's going to have to do something heelish to get it done. So then you're turning your babyface champion heel. But is Liv ready for that? Because she hasn't. I don't like what they've done with her at all, and I'm trying to grasp this whole thing. but I don't want Ronda winning because I don't think Ronda's a week in and week out champion. And like you said, the Charlotte thing, I love Charlotte Flair, but I don't love that that's our fail safe is like put the belt on Charlotte.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think whenever Ronda does win the title, she's keeping it until it's her and Becky Lynch at Mania next year. Like that's what it is. It's Ronda with one of the women's titles going against the man Becky Lynch as one of the marquee matches at Mania.
Do that at the Rumble. Have Ronda win at the Rumble and have Becky win the Rumble and do it.
I mean, you could. I think I'm siding with Graham here, as I do think Ronda's leaving as the champ. I got that feeling. Liv's already beat her twice. You can't have Liv beat her a third time. I feel like you just can't.
Without some just serious shit going down.
But again, I still think even with serious shit going down, I just think you can't. Ronda Rousey losing 3 times.
Ronda doesn't have any friends backstage right now.
She has Shayna Baszler. They're lifelong friends.
But Graham
they're
said
lifelong friends.
That she's going to turn on her, beat her ass.
Maybe. But what if? Yeah, maybe. But what if Shayna comes?
I was your only friend. Ronda.
What if Shayna comes out and does what a lot of people probably expect to do and helps Ronda, and then Shayna and Ronda are on screen? They're like on screen together then.
Yeah,
you know
finally.
I mean? Like,
that's what I want to see.
Finally, yeah. I think a lot of people have wanted that for a while, I think them being on screen, like you ain't going to mess with Ronda, not that anybody is messing with Ronda because she's a badass in her own right, but like who's messing with them two? Who's trying to get involved with Shayna and Ronda if they're together? The answer is nobody. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, or the man Becky Lynch, and then if before Becky left,
Shayna could run the whole.
Yeah,
Ronda's not here this week. You got to deal with me stuff.
Exactly, and you can kind of keep that fresh. And then if Becky comes back and it eventually ends up being Becky chasing Ronda, she'll have to go through Baszler first to get to her, maybe. Which they have a history. There's ways you can do it.
By the way,
there's ways you can do it.
Crazy in my research for today, seeing Becky Lynch on Extreme Rules posters.
Was she maybe in the first iterations of them that they released months ago before the injury?
Maybe. Because I saw a few and I was like,
I think Becky Lynch is coming back soon, like sooner than we think. I think she's pretty close to coming back. I would hope. Yeah, they said it would only be a couple months, and it was in August. We're in October. Like, I feel like it should be coming soon. And I feel like when you're leading up to War Games at SummerSlam, Becky and Bianca were in the ring together with Damage Control at their debut. Like, she's going to be in that War Games match.
Maybe we'll see.
Maybe
she's the White Rabbit.
Maybe. Well, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, we're already at the 2-hour mark, so we might have to have Graham come back soon because Graham, we were going to do a Marvel movie draft, but we're kind of up against it a little bit, so we might have to have him back in another time so we can make sure we get that draft. Pluggo. I don't think has seen any Marvel movies because he's sheltered. He never saw any of the Star Wars movies. Marvel.
I'm sheltered. I choose other things.
Hey, each their own.
I don't judge, except I do.
But who do we think the White Rabbit is?
Before we get out of here and give our plugs and stuff like that, the White Rabbit, we've been seeing the QR codes for a month now, weeks now. A lot of people are speculating, and a lot of people feel very strong that it is Bray Wyatt. I think the three of us are probably all in agreement that we think it's going to be Bray Wyatt. Do we think it happens at Extreme Rules? And I agree with Pluggo, what you said earlier. People online, and again, we're part of that community, but people online are saying, oh, they're going to come back during this match. Oh, he's going to come back during this match. Right now, there's only 6 matches. The White Rabbit or a Bray Wyatt return is big enough on its own that it should just be its own segment on the show. It doesn't have to close the show per se, but like you can just have something happen. That is not involved in the outcome of a match that leads to the White Rabbit. Like Bray Wyatt is big enough on his own. He doesn't need to cost anybody a match or do anything like this. Or
it's got to end the show. It'll overshadow anything you do.
I agree with Pluggo. Yeah, I agree. JPJ. I think it is a big enough thing on its own where he doesn't have to attack Rollins or Riddle per se. But I think that's all that people this show's going to be great. The show's going to be good. But I think if it doesn't happen at all, first of all, people are going to be fucking pissed. And second of all, I think it has to happen Saturday. I think it has to be the last thing that we see to get people to look forward to Raw on Monday. Because I think people, just the sight of Bray being back is going to be so fucking cool. So I don't care if it's after Bayley and Bianca and then we just see Bray close out. I don't know, go after
Yeah, however it happens, right?
Yeah, could you
I
imagine they
agree.
did that middle of the show and then like Liv and Ronda had to follow that? You know, it just you would be talking about that and you would kill whatever steam you got for a match.
That's fair. No, yeah, I think
Is it possible that the White Rabbit is some random thing we're not talking about, and Bray is there to kill? Bray comes out and kills the White Rabbit because this is the most. I'm just saying this is the most obvious, blatant. Like if they don't pay it off with Bray, what could you possibly come up with as its alternate for 2?
I think if they don't pay it off with, it's dead in the water.
I was going to say, do not say Baron Corbin. Do not fucking say Happy Corbin. That is
Ass Corbin. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't, so that's if we're all in agreement, it's Bray. Who would it be? Who would you be okay with as another option? Because Triple H is even came out
nobody.
Said,
I think it's
it's somebody that nobody's even talking about. And I'm like, I know you're just throwing us off the trips. You're good at this, but. Who could?
It has to be Bray. It has to be Bray.
It's Andre.
And Bray's been doing this whole. He's been doing it himself. I mean, you look at no one is this creative as Bray Wyatt. I mean, there's a lot of creative people. No one is as psychotic to put the minute details into this shit.
Correct.
As Bray, the guy's got a lot of fucking time on his hands, being gone from the company. So I 100% think this is Bray.
Yeah, because he knows there's crazy people like us going. Well, I'm going to check.
Exactly.
I'm going to dig into this. And,
what do we think before we get out of here? Do we think what Bray Wyatt do we think we're getting? Are we getting a new iteration of Bray Wyatt? Are we getting a combination of both the Fiend and the Hillbilly? Like, are we getting the Preacher? Like, what form of Bray Wyatt? You think it's something that's going to be just fresh and new because he is so creative that it's going to be just this new iteration of like, oh shit, here's Bray Wyatt with another cool fucking badass character that's hopefully they don't ruin like the other ones, you know?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's something new. Not worst case scenario, but I would appreciate if it was like the older cult figure Bray Wyatt. Anything but the Fiend, just because they fucking killed that character. I love the Firefly Funhouse Fiend stuff, but they fucking killed it. They killed it.
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
I think it's gonna be something new though.
Yeah, Alex said I was gonna say Husk Harris is out. Is he out?
I
mean, if we have the Fiend did give us the most obvious sports commentator call in history. There's a box-like structure next to the ring.
Yeah.
If it is Bray, do you see him being on Raw, SmackDown, or just appearing everywhere?
There's no brand split, probably everywhere at this point. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I would say he would just probably pop up and do whatever he's gonna do, kind of whenever they want to have him on the show.
Fucking NXT, yeah. Who gives a
shit?
Why not?
He doesn't even have to wrestle right out the gate. He could just be like an ominous figure over all these brands, and you never know when he's going to strike or what his actual plan is. Because that's been the appeal of this whole build-up.
Yeah, but that's what the Fiend was before he started wrestling. Was the Fiend would show up and just take out who he was taking out, and it was like, oh shit. But like when those lights clicked and you heard the boom and everything, when everyone was like, oh shit, here we go, he's coming, like, you know. And I just feel like
away from the title. That was
yeah,
the
well,
mistake.
you know, and again, there's a different person in charge now. So we'll see. I have faith in Hunter and Triple H.
Appreciate you, Noob City.
Yeah, Noob. Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for being so interactive in the chat. Always good to see you, my friend. We will see you next week. Thank you for being here. I think it's going to be a new iteration of Bray Wyatt to an extent. I just think Triple H now being in charge and just who's running the show, let that guy be creative because he is creative. Don't strap handcuffs on him. Don't put him in a friggin' world title picture when he doesn't need to be in a world title picture. Don't have him lose to fucking Goldberg. Like, what are we doing? You know? And Triple H has earned the right.
Don't have him debut the blue title when it was supposed to be something really cool.
It's just one of those things where, like, you have an all-time creative mind in Bray Wyatt. Like, he's shown that he can get multiple things over. Just let him be creative. Let him roll with it. Be by, you know, and I feel like with the new people in charge, I think, you know, if this ends up being Bray, I do think I have more faith that things will go a lot better and he'll have a lot of creative input in like what is actually happening. with his character,
agree.
because that was the frustration, is he wanted creative input, and Vince was like, "No, I'm Vince. It's always what I say." And then Bray was like, "Well, motherfucker, I don't like this." And then Vince was like, "All right, well, you're annoying me. You're bad to work with. I'm gonna fire you. You're chubby. Get out of here." All right, well, all right, cool. So, but anyway, I digress. And my friends, that is Extreme Rules. I said it at the top, I think we are in for one hell of a show on Saturday. There's a lot of things to look forward to, a lot of intriguing, the White Rabbit, all of it. Graham, we want to thank you for being here. This was a lot of fun. We will definitely have you on soon. The door is always open, so you just let us know whenever you want to pop back on. We will have that Marvel movie draft after Pluggo watches some damn Marvel movies. Crying out loud.
I hope you come back, Graham. I apologize for Rich King's just
yes. Apologize that you got in the crosshairs of that.
No worries.
But you did it at the top.
We will talk about Rich King, though. He is our sponsor.
He is. We have to talk about that guy that just came on and lambasted us and insulted our guest, called him a piece of shit. We need to talk about him because he is one of our sponsors at RK Athletics. That guy. He's, normally I'm going to use like the Departed line from Alec Baldwin. Like, don't judge him from this meeting alone. Normally he's a really good guy. Just don't judge him from this meeting. You want to get some personal training. This is awkward. Almost as awkward as my interview is going to be with them next week. Love it. Yes. If you want some personal training, you've seen it kind of below me here in the corner, RK Athletics. Whether it's you just want to get in a better workout routine, you want to shed some weight, you want to get some nutrition help, some at-home exercises, no matter what, you just want to get moving again, getting a little bit more physical and stuff like that. That gentleman, Rich King, even though he was rude to us, is the guy you want to go to. He's a very good independent professional wrestler. He's a very good professional personal trainer as well. So I'm going to be a professional here, Rich. And I'm going to tell the people to still go to RK Athletics 1 on social medias for all your needs when it comes to personal training and wanting to improve your physical health. On that note, Graham, I know you did it at the top, but please, again, let the people know where they can follow you, where they can find you. Plug your shit, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys, for having me on. The last 2 hours have flown by. This is awesome. So, again, appreciate you having me on. This was a lot of fun. But, people can check me out, Wrestle Rant, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, pretty much everywhere, WrestleRant.com. I'm on Bleach Report, all that other sort of stuff. A lot of content going up on YouTube and more content coming from Bleach Report and stuff like that. I will be at Extreme Rules on Saturday. And if you never hear from me again because Corbin is the White Rabbit, well, you know why. So that might be why I'm not on the show next time. But hopefully it's not. I look forward to the next time. And again, guys, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
No,
Pluggo.
Thank you, man. You
this
did
was
say
a lot of
2
fun.
hours flew by. I could go another 2 talking to you. This has been so much fun. And then, getting to see all that and stuff like that. That's my bad. You can find me at Pluggo_ on all social media. Just search Pluggo. You see this beautiful face. I'm going to be doing the Extreme Rules Reacts this weekend here at Love Wrestling on the same Twitch channel. So come hang out. I think it's me, Zach, and Spencer, and anybody else that wants to join in. We'll figure that out. Also tomorrow, dropping an interview with a mystery guest. Ooh. They're facing, she, he, maybe, possibly, White Rabbit. I don't know. They're facing Zoe Sager at LPW 9, Mark Among Us.
Yeah.
So you never know. We'll see tomorrow. I don't know. I can't say anything other than that. Also find us at Between Two Beards on all of our social medias. We're everywhere at B2 Beards for all sorts of things up and coming. We got a lot of things in the work. We're always pushing, so you'll see us. And obviously, we will be responding to the RADz.
Oh yeah, check the social medias because that I don't think that's
because apparently that's soon. How we need to. That's how we need to air our grievances, Sammy Guevara side. So
Yeah. We'll make our way up to Edmonton and we'll be waiting at the entrance door for the RADz like Andrade was. So.
I will be like Sammy Guevara and I will just put Graham over on social medias for picking too hard.
There you go.
I thought you picked too hard and I didn't like it, so I'm gonna tweet about it.
There you go. You can find me right here on Joseph_Poulin Jr. on the Twitter machine. You can also find me on Twitch and Facebook at JPJ Loves Gaming. I'm usually over there a couple times a week playing some video games and having some good times over there. Pluggo told you where you can find us on Between Two Beards. Be on the lookout. I'm sure I believe Rich King also just tweeted some stuff at us as well. So
sure
I don't
Real
see that ending.
professional.
You know, so Pluggo gives me these ideas, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then immediately afterwards, I'm like, that was not a good idea. We shouldn't have done that. These are professional wrestlers who could murder us. Anyway, on that note, Graham, thank you again. This was a lot of fun. We will have you on again whenever you want, my man. We do have friends. Yeah. Pluggo, appreciate you, buddy. For everybody that was in the chat all night, appreciate all you guys hanging in here. You guys really make the show. So we appreciate all the banter and fun stuff and questions in there. For Graham, for Pluggo, for Alex behind the glass, I am JPJ. And until next Thursday at 8 p.m., peace out.